All right, welcome to Adam Does Movies Live. It's a Thursday. We usually don't go live on Thursdays, but I want to do something fun, do something a little different, and that's have on a buddy, someone I met online. I honestly don't know him really at all outside of some of the tweets he's put out. I've watched a couple of his videos, and I thought to myself, this guy Cody, I like this guy Cody. So I'm going to throw him in right now. There he is. Let's go into, I don't know, which view do you like more? Do you like the kind of the
they both
full
work.
screen?
They both work. Maybe do that one, and then when we're getting serious, you zoom in.
Well, we'll cut in closer for some more engagement.
Exactly. Come here. Okay. Listen,
Cody. You got a big channel. You got double my subscribers. I don't know how long you've been in the game for, but we'll jump into that. But just to kind of say hi to my audience, in case some of them don't know who you are, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
What is up, guys? Yeah, so my name's Cody Leach. My channel's also called Cody Leach, so it's really easy to find me and remember me. I've been doing it since 2016, summer of 2016. So here at the end of August will be 7 years.
7 years, yeah. I did the math for you, yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I've been reviewing movies for quite a while. I've carved out a nice little section of YouTube. I went full time just short of 2 years ago. That little anniversary is coming up in September.
Really?
So I got to tell my boss to fuck off and then do this for a living. That was pretty awesome. And then I also have a gaming channel. I haven't done much with it the past month because there hasn't really been much to do in the gaming world, but I also dabble into that a little bit. And
not much to do in the gaming world. I find myself, like, I have a PlayStation 5, I got the Switch, and I have, all the bullshit gold accounts or whatever. And I find myself overwhelmed with games. And whenever I have even like a small amount of time, I fire up God of War or whatever. And I'm just instantly like taken down about 30 pegs trying to do anything in the game because I feel like it's such a chore to play a video game now.
Oh yeah. Some of them are monstrous, especially that last God of War. I think I put like damn near 50 hours into it before all was said and done, and I was done with it.
Oh my God. Did you what are you playing? Oh, it's a PlayStation. Yeah. Did you platinum it or?
I did.
Okay. I did. Well, that's something
nice
to be
little flex.
That's something to be proud of. I don't like it. A few years ago they changed how the user score was done. It used to be I was like a 27. That was easy to remember, but then they changed it to like you're now a 1,420, and that's lame. Nobody likes that. What are you doing?
I don't need to see how I measure up against the world. Just give me a nice number.
Give me something solid to look at and brag about.
Yeah.
Cody, I wanted to have you on today because, well, first, I've noticed a huge shift over the years on YouTube when it comes to how people talk about movies, what gets pushed in the YouTube algorithm by the YouTube gods, or what is it called in Mission Impossible 7? What are
the entity?
The entity. They said that so many times. You could be drunk off your ass in like 10 minutes flat. The entity. Where's the key?
Yeah.
We should let's quickly talk about that quick before we dive in. Cody, what's your ranking for the Mission Impossible movies? Or wait, hang on. You said you already did it and it's going on your channel tomorrow. Is that
correct?
Correct. Okay, so don't even tell them. But you guys go to subscribe to Cody and you can find out tomorrow, because I like to push content creators that seem to be on the up and up. And I want to And that's really what this conversation's about. I've noticed in the last few years, like 6 or 7 years, that it seems like YouTube's really hot on polarizing opinions on
Mm-hmm.
everything. So for normal people, I'd say like myself and probably like you to an extent, you are having a hard time breaking some of the molding when it comes to reviews because there's these crazy channels that are calling everything woke. And then there's the other side that seems to get early screeners to just praise everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to kind of get out there. And with millions of hours of video uploaded every hour to YouTube, I mean, yeah, it's an uphill battle. And I
Yeah.
think they block out a lot of the noise. But I guess I took some notes. I wanted to know a little bit more about you because I don't know much. What for you since you're full time? I'm not, by the way. I've been on YouTube for like a decade or more.
Mm-hmm.
So you've gone full time before I did, and I can attribute that to a few things, faults of my own, by the way. But for you, I'd like to know what's the day look like in a movie critic world.
Well, I have a little calendar that I keep right here. It's a little dry erase calendar. And so at the beginning of every month, I'll kind of map out what new releases are coming out, what content I'm going to put out in relation to that new release. And then I'll fill in some of the gaps with maybe some new ideas or some older movies or rankings. And so in the perfect day, the perfect week, I'll typically wake up. I try to go to the gym and get that done first. That way I don't have to worry about it. And then when I come home and then I'm clean, then I'm ready for the day. I try to record no less than 2 videos because usually I have my week mapped up enough where I can be like, okay, today I'll rank the Mission Impossible films and I'll also rank the stunts. That's another video that I'm going to do. So I usually try to record at least 2 videos. That way I'm recording and editing one for today. And if something happens, because I've got 3 kids and a wife, and then of course life just happens.
Oh,
Sometimes
interesting.
you're
Okay.
not going to get any work done. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's a video waiting in the winks where all I have to do is edit it, and so that at least takes 30 minutes out of the process.
Right.
But yeah, I'll do that throughout the day. I'll go on my phone and check comments and stuff like that. Luckily, I've got to the point where I don't have to engage quite as much and pertaining to what we're going to end up talking about. Sometimes
Sure.
that's just extremely draining if things go poorly.
Yeah,
And
you
so,
have a built-in audience that'll kind of speak on your behalf. They know you well enough at this point to be able to
yeah,
kind of vouch for
exactly,
you. Right. Yeah, that's
exactly.
very nice.
So
That's awesome. What you said you work out in the morning? Is this a 5 days a week situation? What are you doing here for reps? I got to know what we're working with.
I typically try to do 6 days a week.
Oh wow. Okay.
I either take off Thursday or I take off Sunday. I try to do a 3 day rotation twice a week, and just depending on if I have a busy weekend, or I'll try to take the day off during the middle of the week, or vice versa. But yeah, I try to do chest and back one day, shoulders and arms, and then legs and core, and then I'll repeat all 3 of those.
That's a fair workout regimen. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's kind of actually what I used to do. Now I guess I'm kind of the same exact way. Do you do chest and legs one day and then back and shoulders and then arms a different day?
Yeah, pretty much. So, like
Yeah,
right now, I do chest and back, and then I'll do shoulders and arms, and then legs and core. And then after a while, if you start to hit that plateau where things are feeling like you're getting too used to the workout, then you start swapping them around and trying
exactly.
to do different things. I used to be really hardcore into the gym about the time that I had started my channel, and then um, meeting my wife, instant family. She already had 2 kids before she met me, and so I quite literally bec became one of those people that it's like you don't have time to work out anymore. And so I went probably a good 4 or 5 years without working out, and
Oh
then
wow.
here
Okay.
earlier this year, I was just like, I got to get back in, and so I've been since February, I've been going straight through, and it feels
Awesome.
good to finally be back into it.
So you go Han Solo, you go stag to the gym, just a lone wolf.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I would like to bring my oldest son, but unfortunately, with them being out of school, he's got to help watch his younger sisters,
Sure.
so it kind of
Sure.
screws him over a little bit. But yeah, just by myself, just me and my earbuds, and
You got some Lincoln Park going or some
I usually do
maybe
music one day, and then the other day, next day I'll probably listen to podcasts or YouTube videos or something like that. Change it up a
sure.
little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got the whole family going, so I got my wife and my 2 kids with me, and that's always fun too because the Iron Temple used to be a way to kind of unwind and get away, but now I'm like yelling at my kid like, "Connor, stop screwing around. Let's go. Come on. You're
Hmm.
embarrassing me." So I got nowhere to hide anymore. I'm at home with the whole crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so that's interesting. Your life as a movie critic isn't much different than mine, and I have a full-time job off on top of that. So I feel like you
Yeah.
have maybe a little bit more of a chilled experience than I do.
It feels like it was that way, and then but I usually try to work on stuff so much that it shocks me some days where I'm like, "How the fuck do I not just have so much more free time? Like, what the hell? I stopped going to work to do this, and
Yeah, yeah,
for the
exactly.
longest time, I had the full-time job and then this, and I still felt like I had less free time some days, but
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. I mean, YouTube as a content creator, it's a full-time job. And you even see the guys on, I don't know if you're on TikTok or not, but I go on there sparsely, but when I do, you'll see a dude that's talking into his headset like this, and he's got a
mhm.
green screen that's just poorly done behind him and some shitty text. And even that I look at and I go, that's awful, but that dude's still putting in a good chunk of time to make these crappy videos. Like
Oh, yeah.
he put out 3 videos today, and he's got thousands of videos out here. That still requires a good amount of effort and time. So part of me is like, ugh, that's just the lowest effort garbage ever. And then another part of me is like, respect. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I don't do too much on TikTok. I've tried
yeah,
here and there, but my brain is not for short form content. I try to
yeah,
rewire it that way sometimes, and I just get annoyed at the video. I'm much more
yeah.
of a longer form person. So, even though I understand that's where a lot of the industry's going, that's where a lot of people they want the short form, they want the 60 seconds or less, but it just annoys me. Like, even
Yeah,
if I try to
I
do
know.
a condensed version of my review, I'm like, fuck you. You're not gonna get a 60-second version of that. Go watch the real one. Like,
Well, and then they ultimately like call you on it anyways. Like you barely touched upon this and that.
yeah.
Like, dude, this is a 40-second video.
Yeah, it's the video version of Twitter where
Yeah,
they take
exactly.
150 characters and they know all your thoughts.
So you don't do shorts even at all?
The only thing that I do pretty consistently is like a out of theater reaction. I'll
Okay, yeah,
film
those
before
do
I
really
go
well.
in.
Yep.
Yeah, before I go in, I'll give a quick little 20-second, like, this is what I'm expecting, and then I'll do the same thing on the way out. Those are really easy.
Yeah.
I need to start figuring out ways to do supplemental content in short form, but just I don't know. I'm like resisting it. I'm waiting for that trend to die, even though it's probably going to leave me in the
Yeah.
wind, and I'm
I
going to
I
wish
mean
I should
I
have jumped on
would
it.
I didn't want to jump on it either, and it's really good for growth. Now, I mean, obviously you're growing a lot faster than I am, but I've noticed since putting out shorts, it's helped the subscriber numbers. So
Yeah,
I would absolutely bite the bullet and just throw out a couple a week, and you'll be surprised at how quickly you see those numbers jump up even more.
yeah.
All right, let's get into a fun little section. I want to know when you go to a movie. Well, first off, how many movies do you see a week? Would you say on average?
Since going full time, I try to see every major new release,
Sure.
and I try to look every single week at what's coming out. And this year, especially, I've been trying to watch the movies that I normally would just kind of skip. Movies like Nefarious that we'll talk about, but like,
Nefarious.
yeah. So I at least one a week. There's been some weeks this year where I've done three in one night.
I did
Like
that as well recently. Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
exhausting.
not
Next
great.
week, it's not at all. Next week, we're gonna have Barbie and Oppenheimer, so sometimes you get those
Yeah.
little double blockbuster weekends, but yeah, at least one a week. It's rare that I don't see one during a 7-day stretch.
Do you think Barbie and Oppenheimer are both going to be solid films?
I have no reason to doubt that Oppenheimer's not gonna be great. I
Yeah,
really don't know what the hell Barbie's gonna be.
I don't either, man. The I think it was the second trailer, the final trailer. I didn't even crack a smile, and
Mhm.
I
The
don't know.
only one I saw was that weird 2001: A Space Odyssey
Space
parody one,
Odyssey.
and I was just
Yeah,
like, "What the hell? You're
yeah.
marketing to, like, 70-year-olds with a property that 7-year-olds are going for,"
I
so
know, but it's
I don't
kind
know
of
what to
weird
expect.
because I don't know. Do 7-year-olds play with Barbies anymore? I don't even know how popular it is as a toy line.
Neither of my 2 daughters have ever asked for a Barbie, so I
And
don't
nor
know.
has my one daughter. So
Mhm.
I mean, obviously that's anecdotal, but I don't know. I mean, my son also doesn't have like, I guess he does have a couple Ninja Turtle action figures, but I don't feel like it
Yes.
was when we were kids, where it seemed like, half the room was full of Ninja Turtles. But Ninja Turtles spans so many different mediums, whereas
Oh yeah.
Barbie really feels like it's just the toy line.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about Barbie though. I feel like we spent enough time on that just now. Okay, so I was going to ask. I as well see all the major releases, and then from time to time, if I get spammed by what I imagine were bots now, or whatever, to go see some little indie flick that comes out, I will jump on it because it's like, oh, my audience or whoever this is seems to really be interested, and then I'm disappointed all over again. But yeah, that's usually what I try to do. And you said you have a family. I don't need to know ages or anything, but do you watch movies with them as well? Or, I mean, have you got your kids into movies?
I do, and they're pretty hardcore into movies for the most part, and they're very different to where my son likes anime and stuff like that I've never been into, but he likes a lot of the
Yeah, my
martial arts
son's
movies,
my son's
and
into anime too. I don't, I don't know what it is.
yeah, he didn't get it from me. I can't stand it.
No,
He's tried
no.
to get me into it, and I'm just like, dude, like I love you. I'm glad that you love it, but
Yeah.
this is not for me.
You watch
Um,
Dragon Ball or anything? You try to get.
I don't know what he watches. It's just as soon as I see anime, I'm just like my brain shuts off, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, going into another room.
yeah.
But yeah, he likes more of the action and comic book stuff. My daughter tends to like my middle daughter tends to like some of the more dramatic stuff, believe it or not. And then my youngest daughter is all about horror. Where 2 years
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
whenever I was watching all the Scream movies, gearing up for Scream 5 to be released, she kind of poked her head in and got infatuated with Ghostface. And so then she started watching those, and then I pushed her into seeing if she liked Freddy and Chucky and all them. So that's what she
And
likes.
does she?
She does.
Oh,
Thank
that's
God.
nice. Because
Otherwise,
some,
I might have to
yeah.
get a DNA test.
Some of that stuff you just don't know because it's, it has aged for sure, especially Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know you're on the horror side more than I am even. But I will
Mhm.
say The Thing is probably peak for me. That's about as good as it
Oh, yeah.
gets in the horror.
That's my favorite as
I mean,
well.
I mean, it's kind of a cliche, I guess, at this point. Most people know that that's one of the greats. But
Mhm.
yeah, my daughter's also really into horror films, and I know she gets that from her mom, which is funny because whenever my wife Lindsay wants to watch a horror movie, she's either half watching it or fully closed with the eyes, and I just get frustrated. I'm like, what are you doing? You shut
Mhm.
your eyes every time the good stuff happens. What do you like about this? I don't know,
Yeah.
but Olivia, my daughter, she'll watch everything. She loves it.
Mhm. Yeah, they like movies, and I usually, especially during the summer, I try to gear some of my movie trips around them. So like we had Elemental and Spider-Verse and stuff like that, where it's easy to take them all. I took my son to the two different screenings I had to go to last month for Indiana Jones and Flash, and I've already got tickets bought for both my daughters for to go with me to Barbie. So I
Oh,
try to
nice.
include them where I
Yeah.
can, but
You
certain ones
say
I'm just
wait,
like,
you said
no,
you
you're
s-
gonna fall asleep.
you took your son to the new Indiana Jones?
The new Indiana Jones and the Flash.
Okay. Did he and I here's the truth. I don't watch almost any reviews from any other YouTube channels. I don't have time, but I
Mhm.
appreciate and respect what's going on. So I don't know. Did you like The Flash and Indiana Jones?
I like the Flash quite a
Yeah,
bit.
I did too.
I thought the CGI was just horrendous. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
a new thought, but I was just like,
No,
wow,
it's real.
you didn't work.
The babies were so bad.
Yeah, and then Indiana Jones I thought was fine. The way
Yeah.
I titled my thumbnail was "It's good enough." You know.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I think mine would be it's bad enough is kind of what I thought. But
Hmm.
for me, Indiana Jones was always a young man's game. And so
Yeah.
even the last one, Crystal Skull, I thought Harrison was a little too old for the role already. But
Hmm.
I also, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I think there's certain characters where the actor that plays them is basically the character. So I don't want to
Hmm.
see like Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'd rather him do a completely different character in the same vein. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Whenever they announced they were doing a fifth one, I was from that moment I knew exactly what I was walking into. So I think me always
yeah,
having that expectation of this is
sure.
only going to be so exciting, kind of primed me to like it more than some. But it
That's
was just
fair.
okay. It's
Yeah.
not a movie I'll ever rewatch.
No, it's too long, which is
Yeah.
another complaint I'm gonna be talking about. I mean, I've been
Yeah.
bitching about runtime for a good 2 years now, but it seems
Hmm.
like it's just getting worse and worse.
It is, man. I brought it up again whenever I was reviewing Mission Impossible, which is one of the few movies recently I think actually earns its runtime. But even so, with me, rewatchability is big, and
Yeah.
that plays big into my rating and everything like that. And I'm like, this is not going to be a Mission Impossible movie I'm going to watch very often because I'll often have 3 hours to kill when the other ones are an hour plus less.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that about rewatchability, which is also a thing. I think it's a generational thing more than anything
Yeah.
else because we have so many movies coming out every week, TV shows, streaming has taken over. It's depressing almost. And it's just not the same for even my kids. My kids don't rewatch anything because
Yeah.
there's always like 500 other things to watch. I mean, I know I've watched Austin Powers and, some of these earlier Mission Impossibles. Die Hard, I've probably seen 40 times. And I can quote a lot of these movies, not front to back, but a stupid amount, like a bad amount. We only have so much room in our brains, and I wasted so much of it on movie quotes. It's sad.
Yeah, I remember the good old days where when I was a kid, and if you didn't want to watch TV and if you didn't want to play a video game, then you were limited to whatever VHS tapes your dad had.
Yeah.
And so that was my availability growing up. That's why
Yeah.
I watched Terminator 2 and Lost Boys and stuff like that, just on loop.
Right.
And
Terminator 2,
yeah.
man. So good. You got a
Oh yeah.
perfectly good puzzle over there, Adam. You could work on that. I'm trying to beat Mega Man 3 over here, Mom. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the 4 games I had on the Nintendo. Okay, so as far as I did watch, by the way, a couple of your videos, and they were very well done. I like how you're one of the
Thank you.
few critics that is like old school Adam, where you actually put yourself in front of a green screen, you knock it out, you got a cool set. I used to do all that stuff back when I thought it mattered, and 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 it used to be about quality more than quantity on YouTube. I had a show called Movie Feuds where I'd pit 2 movies head to head. It was kind of like my big thing. They'd get 500,000 views. Some of them got 3-4 million views. It was a great time, and then everything changed when the Fire
Mhm.
Nation came or whatever. But yeah, I made a lot of mistakes and didn't just focus on one show. But with
Mhm.
that show, it was fake background, TV monitor. It was kind of like The Soup or Tosh Point oh. Guests were on, and it took like 7 or 8 hours to do one episode, and it just wasn't a sustainable business model on YouTube.
I
So
hear
it all
that.
it all kind of went away, and now I have your generic kind of like Lego. These posters back here, by the way, are from my son's room. I was like in a madcap dash to kind of redo my whole set 6 months ago, and I'm like, I gotta have some movie posters. Connor, what do you got? And it was like
Jurassic Park
X-Men.
3.
It's actually Jurassic Park 1, but
It
with
is?
like the Jurassic Park 3 stank on it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
The red is what threw me off
well,
because usually 3 has the red.
well, no, you're right. I think it's maybe like an unofficial poster or something. I don't really know how this happened.
Mhm.
It's chaotic. It's crazy.
I'll never forget when the teaser trailer for that came out because it was on the DVD set of the 2 Jurassic Park movies. The first time they were released, and my cousin hyped it up. He's like, "Did you see the trailer for Jurassic Park 3? It looks awesome." And then I rushed home to watch it, and it's just a roar in Jurassic Park 3. And I was like, "You motherfucker."
But
Yeah.
if that came out when YouTube was really big, the trailer reactors would be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, exactly.
The thumbnail would be like, it would just be like ridiculous. 5
So
million.
hyped.
Yeah, yeah. The hype is real. 5 million views. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I hate the world. I really do. I hate everything. All right, so we talked about kind of how you watch movies with your family and whatnot. How do you approach film criticism? Again, I watched a couple of your reviews. I see that you have a pros section. You do a like mid section and then a cons. Is that
Mhm.
kind of the format for all your stuff?
Yeah, that's kinda how I started to organize my thoughts. I didn't do that for a while, but at some point, it felt more structured that way, because I don't take any notes. I like to just go off the cuff.
That's where I'm at. Yep.
Yeah, I tried taking notes very early on, but I found that I just sounded too scripted,
Hmm.
and so I just didn't like that, and, so I typically just go watch a movie, I come home, I turn the camera on, and I just talk, and that allowed me to kind of organize my thoughts a bit more. Because too often I would sit down to edit and be like, "Oh, shit, I forgot to mention that one thing." But yeah, my approach, I try to lean pretty heavily on just a guy who likes movies that's relatable
Yes.
with putting some professionalism in there. And I've gotten, at least I think I've gotten better as I've gone along, starting to understand terminology more and know where to actually professionally critique things
Mhm.
aside from just like, that was cool, that was dumb. And so I try to leave that balance. And I try to throw humor and things like that in there too to kind of keep the tone of my videos a little different. But I tend to find on YouTube, people tend to gravitate more towards people that are relatable versus people that are just like very educated professional in the industry, and that they're speaking on terms that don't necessarily connect with general audiences.
Right.
So I try to find a balance in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's again another reason why I was interested in talking to you, because I think we're kind of similar in that respect. I'm very much just, I want to talk with people online like I talk with my buddies after we see The Matrix Reloaded in theaters.
Yeah.
We walk out, wow, that movie was okay, but what the hell happened here? Or, I love the Burly Brawl fight scene with all the Agent Smiths, and just really nerd out on stuff and
Hmm.
have like a dialogue in a casual way, but like you said, have a little bit of pronunciation behind it, have a little bit of
Say cinematography at least twice.
well, of course, cinematography, yeah, the sound design, the CGI is overused now. You can't say CGI anymore. The
There you
visual
go.
communication, the visual effects were just spicy. Yeah, it's you live and learn, of course, and you try to kind of adapt to your audience and see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, I do like the way you approach movie reviews. And when you watch a movie, are you sitting there just trying to enjoy the film, or are you thinking in the back of your mind, like, are you making checklists? Are you doing anything like that?
I got to be honest, it's hard. It's hard to completely shut your brain off when you know you're going to be reviewing it. I try my
Yeah.
best to, and that's where it's nice sometimes where I walk into movies that I know I'm not going to actually cover, where I can just
Hmm.
kind of decompress and watch it. But I try my best to just experience the movie and maybe just keep little notes in the back of my head here and there, but not like looking at it with an analytical eye the
Yeah, of
entire
course.
time.
Right.
It really only gets hard when a movie is just not working for me at all. And then I'm just sitting there compiling
Hmm.
my list. I'm just watching it like, okay, I'm talking about that. That shit's pissing me off. Talking about that. And when a movie's doing pretty good, it's easier for me to let that part go and just kind of escape in it.
Yeah, there's been a few. I'm same way, but there has been a few times where a scene or a line of dialogue has come up, and I so badly wish I had like a way to just like
Oh
jot
yeah.
that one thing down. Like, I know I'm gonna forget this.
Hmm.
I even do that when I watch. So I have a Patreon. I'm sure you do as well. At Adam Does Movies, and one of my tiers lets people sign up, and they can actually request a movie for me to review. And
Hmm.
I'm charging not enough for that tier, by the way. I really kick myself for that one.
Yeah. I've been there.
Especially based on some of the review choices I've been getting. Like,
Oh,
hey,
so
what?
you too. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's
Oh
why I
God,
stopped doing it because it
yeah,
was
it's
just one out of every seven is like a great movie that they want to introduce me to, and the other six are like, this is dog shit, and I just want to hear you rant on it. And I'm like, thanks. That was fun.
yeah. I honestly almost wish for the hour and a half dog shit, because the stuff I
Mhm.
have gotten in the past is like something from 1932 that was an indie by a director who died shortly after, and
Has
five people
nothing to
saw the
do with your
movie.
channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really just a flex so they can say they saw a movie that I didn't.
Uh-huh. I had
I don't.
somebody request
Yeah, I
sometime. They
don't
were
get that
like,
much anymore.
can you review the new Dragon Ball Z movie that's in theaters right now for the weekend?" And I'm like, I've never seen an episode of
I
Dragon
actually
Ball
re I
Z.
actually reviewed that because my son really wanted to see it, but, yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Like, I was actually very happy I watched 30 or 40 episodes before going to that, because you would
Mhm.
know nothing going into that
Yeah,
film.
exactly. I was like, how would I even review it? I wouldn't know who the
Yeah.
hell anybody is or any of this.
Yeah, well, I like kind of some of the flying characters that changed colors, but I don't know what the fuck they were doing it for,
Mm,
is basically the takeaway.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so anyway, my point about the reviewing movies, getting movie requests is I don't know. I forgot, Cody. I completely went off base. I lost
You're
I lost track of what I was
you
saying.
watching movies and having your list
Oh yeah,
ready
yeah.
and
Thank you. Thank you for
mhm.
paying attention to what I was saying. Once you turn 40, it's all over. It's all gone.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was requested to watch Mallrats because I've never seen some of the Kevin Smith movies,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of them. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was all right. Not as good as Clerks, but still solid. But anyway, as I was watching, I'm like, oh, I forgot this takes place in Minnesota at the Eden Prairie Mall, and I lived in Minnesota almost my entire life. And then I forgot to bring it up in the review that I did at home right after watching the video. So taking notes can definitely be an important thing.
Yeah, that's the most annoying thing in the world for me is whenever I'm closing in on finishing editing a video, and then sometimes while it's uploading to YouTube, I'll watch it just to make sure I didn't have any editing mistakes, and then I'll have a thought where the light bulb goes off, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't mention that thing," and then I gotta
It's so
pull
bad.
the cameras back out and
It's so bad.
splice it back in, re-render.
Do you do that? Do you actually do that?
If it's important enough, yes. Sometimes
Okay.
I'll even just think of like a joke or a bit where I'm like, damn, that would be good. And I'll throw it back in there. It's not too much of an inconvenience, but it's always annoying when you're ready to be done and shut the
Yeah.
laptop off for the night. And you're like, well, 30 more minutes.
It hasn't happened in a while, but I've had 2 or 3 videos where I made a mistake so egregious to myself that I pulled the whole video and re-uploaded it like, half a day later. But that
Oh,
stings.
leaving in mistakes. Oh yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that before. I've had some bad ones. My M. Night Shyamalan ranking when Old came out, what was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
There was a point in the review where I was like number 2 or number 3. I'm like, oh, number 3 is Signs, and I'm gonna number 3 is Signs, and I'm like, oh shit!
That's
And
the
you don't
worst.
realize it
Yeah.
until you get like 17 comments with a time
Oh
code.
yeah,
and you're
all
like,
of them are gonna harp on that one. It could be like an hour and a half video, but if you said
Mhm.
one mistake, that's what they're all gonna point out. It's brutal
Mhm.
because you could have spent like 12 hours on that thing, and
Yep.
that's the takeaway. I forgot that I'm supposed to like say, hey, super chats are great. So Master Sergeant, who is an Unobtainium member on Patreon at Adam Does Movies, says boom. I'm guessing is a fan of you, Cody Leach. So that's cool. Thank you, Master Sergeant. At the end of this little stream we're doing here, super chats are of course welcome. So if you have a question for Cody or I, please throw a super chat in and we'll address it. And Cody, of course, gets none of the revenue from that, but
As I
he'll
should not.
get some of the subscribers on his channel. That's the hope, at least, is to kind of prop other movie channels up. It's something that I used to do a lot when I had movie feuds. I would bring in people from all different subscriber numbers. And
Mhm.
the last couple of years, I've just been kind of like wandering by myself on YouTube, and it's not a good place to be. It's nice to have some shared camaraderie, especially, and that's kind of the meat I wanted to get into of this topic. You see this beautiful segue I'm doing, Cody. It's really
Mhm.
masterful. And that's there is a lot of channels working together, it seems like, but they all have these really awful goals,
Mhm.
which, and I'm sure some of them, I don't want to slander them if you actually like them, I guess, but like Geeks and Gamers and the Yellowfish and whatnot, they all are really just, I hate Hollywood. I hate 99% of the movies that come out
I'm
because they're
still
woke.
pissed about The Last Jedi.
I still think Brie Larson is the worst person on planet Earth, and she and
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy should go die.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Do you know? Do you have any idea? And why is YouTube pushing them so hard?
Because the audience shows up. No
Yeah,
matter how many videos in the past month they've bitched about The Last Jedi with the thumbnail with Brie Larson and the glowing red eyes and stuff like that, they still show up because people are angry. Sometimes
yeah,
they don't know what they're angry about. They just want to be angry with other people, and it sells. It's
it
just the
does.
same message, the same fake ass outrage over and over and over again. And the pathetic part of it is like all these guys that are the leaders of these channels, that are the faces of all these agendas and everything like that, like they believe what they're saying maybe 15%. They're
Yeah,
maybe that much invested in it, but they
that's
know
the
that if
frustrating part.
they just keep recycling, I'm still mad, aren't you guys still mad? Then everybody just keeps showing up like sheep. I
That's the
mean,
frustrating part, and there's so many of them. I remember, I don't know, I feel like it was 2 years ago, my feed out of nowhere, my recommendations were just all of these guys, and all the
mhm,
thumbnails were just Brie Larson on fire, making some dumb face, Kathleen Kennedy burning alive. And I was
yep,
just like, what is this? And why do you
yeah.
think I'll like this? And I guess YouTube's probably like middle-aged man, algorithm complete, angry at
Angry
the
white
world,
guy. Here we go.
angry white dude, calculating.
Yeah, last year it was the chick that lost her mind on G4 TV, and it was getting those videos recommended to me for like
Oh
3 months, and I'm
God.
like, not fucking interested, not interested. God damn it.
What's really frustrating is for a while obviously there's some on both of our channels that like these guys. They love them,
Hmm.
whatever. I don't even know what to say to them anymore. That's great, I guess, that you have
Hmm.
a palette that includes me and Cody. But
Yeah.
I would push back occasionally and lose like a big chunk of subs because I said a couple things like, "Hey, I just want to be honest and give like impassioned reviews about movies. Not everything is a 100% or a zero. There is a lot. I would say a massive amount of movies that come out are very mid.
Oh yeah, especially
They're
this
just
year.
exactly. They're just kind of good and kind of bad. They bought you some time. The problem is the mid movies now are 2.5 hours long, so
Yeah.
they're going in my trash pile. They're not going in my positive. There used to be a lot of mediocre movies in the 90s, and they starred Jean Claude Van Damme, but they were an hour and a half, and that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And so I watched them all, and I had a decent time. And Jackie Chan had a lot of really fun, short, quick fighting movies, and I liked it. Not good movies, but also good at the same time. They were awesome for the fighting.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just these channels give props so much. So then when I push back, I'm like, guys, these aren't movie fans. They
Hmm.
don't care about movies. Why are you getting so hoodwinked by their bullshit? And they
Yeah.
would be like, screw you. Yes, they like movies. Yes, they like games. Da, 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 da. And so, out of sheer curiosity, just last week, I checked in on some of them for the first time in a year or two. And now their videos are all entirely the woke agenda. And half of them aren't even on movies anymore. They're on, like what so and so is doing in like the leftist party on Twitch and
Yeah.
what's going on with Biden and stuff. It's like, I told you, and you
Hmm.
didn't listen, and now you're there, and I'm sulking, and I am still not getting near the views these jackasses are getting.
Yeah, I had a
That's
guy maybe a week or two ago that was like spam tagging me and Sean Chandler trying to tell us about how foolish we are for not jumping on the train and going against the woke agenda and stuff. Look at these views compared to your views. And I'm like, yeah, if I had to talk about that every day, I'd fucking kill myself.
I
But thanks
probably
for
know
the
who it
advice.
is, dude. I'm not gonna say his name. Does it start with a T?
I don't remember, man.
Okay.
It left my brain as soon as I blocked him and moved on.
Okay, that's good. I
Hmm.
have someone that's doing that currently, and he brought up Sean Chandler as well, saying that they're friends. And there's like 12 messages and audio recordings, and he probably has video where there's like pictures and ropes and stuff tying to paper clips, and I can't do it. I just
Yeah.
can't do it with some of these people. So maybe that's a good transition to the mental disease that's going on, and it's probably a lot because of some of these channels I just mentioned, and because of just the bizarre political world we're in, where everything has to be black and white. There's
Hmm.
no mid anymore. There's no medium movies. They're either 100% or 0%. You brought up your video earlier, Nefarious. Is that what it's called?
Nefarious.
Okay, I had never heard of that movie. You told
As
me
you
about
should.
it. Yeah, you told me about it. I watched your video. Perfectly reasonable review of the film.
Hmm.
I took nothing out of it other than this movie sounds terrible. You showed some clips. It looks terrible. And
Hmm.
you pointed out how it's basically all contained in a jail cell or whatever between two guys. And it just sounded like propaganda garbage.
Yeah.
And you said you had hundreds or thousands of comments.
Thousands. That video is at like 75,000 views, and I get at least 10 to 20 comments a day still.
When did it come
And
out?
April.
Okay, so yeah, so 3 months later, they're still going
Yeah.
at it.
Well, it calmed down for a couple of weeks, and then the movie went on VOD, and then it kicked right back into high gear. I'm assuming my review must be out there on some like subreddit somewhere,
Sure.
like leftist woke America or something like that. But
And
but
I'm sure
yeah,
they're reasonable comments, though. They're all just like, hey, Cody, you're wrong. This is a great movie because A, B, C, and D.
there's a few of those for
Okay.
every 1,000 of them that suggest that I'm Satan incarnate, and in support of child grooming. I must love everything that Disney likes.
Oh, yeah. That's the
Clearly
go to.
clearly
Yeah.
this guy had they slash them in his top 5 last year. It was actually my bottom 5.
Well,
It
they
was just
buried
all,
Nefarious. Obviously, they buried Nefarious.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. So it was just all these things where I'm just like, I have plenty of other videos where it's been a left agenda,
right.
and I've said the same exact things.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can say that I don't maybe line up with your movie taste, but you can't say I'm not fair.
Yeah, there is. I mean, someone asked me that recently too. They're like, "Well, this is just the the far right extremists coming at you." It's like, yeah, this feels different though. I mean, I've been called racist and sexist and all that. I'm sure you have as well. You know,
Oh
you
yeah.
say like, "Yeah, Black Panther 2 sucked." In my opinion, I thought it sucked.
Hmm.
There was like maybe a sprinkling of like, "Hey, you're racist" or whatever. Fine, whatever. People are insane, but I recently reviewed what was this movie called even? I already forgot the name of it because it was so incredibly
The
mediocre.
smell of freedom.
The source, yeah, the source of mediocrity.
Sound of
The
freedom.
sound of meh. 2 hours and 15 minutes, a chore to watch. And obviously, it's so funny because I did a YouTube short as I suggested you should do. 41 seconds out of the theater, and I straight up am like, "Hey, just left Sound of Freedom. I was told by a bunch of people to go see it, and I've learned since then that a lot of the people that told me to see it don't seem on the up and up.
Hmm.
Those comments all came in like stacked right on top of each other.
Oh yeah.
Um, whatever. But I didn't feel it. You know, it had its heart in the right place. It's on child trafficking, which is an awful thing, terrible thing. Go see it if you want, but for me, I wouldn't rush out and see it. It
Hmm.
just had pacing issues. That's
Yeah.
almost verbatim my review in
So
out of the theater.
unreasonable.
And I'm called a pedo or pedo, however you say that. I'm told that I'm part of the agenda. I'm part of the blah 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 blah. And
Yep.
like you, hundreds and hundreds of comments coming in as we speak, and it's just and like you, I have thick skin, so all of it depresses me, but not for me. It depresses me on what the hell's going on with people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how you get to the point where you are going online and you are attacking essentially a complete stranger who had the most reasonable takeaway possible. And you somehow jump on top of that and bag on all these extra spices that had nothing to do with my review. Like, how do
Yeah.
you know who said I'm leftist or Democrat or who said I'm a bad father? Like, you don't know any of this.
Oh man, it's crazy. Like
It's
my
so nuts.
first taste of that was back in 2018 when the first Halloween came out for the new trilogy. That was the first time I got a taste of how those kinds of comments could be. I gave the movie 3.5 out of 5. So obviously I hated it. And and when I tell you that I got the most insane gross treatment, like I had people telling me that I should have aborted my children
Hmm.
and all kind of stuff. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been quite that level of dark with the nefarious thing, but it's been along the same lines where people just like, we don't align on this one piece of art that none of us had a hand in making, and so
Right.
obviously you must be the worst scum of earth. And it's just like, how the fuck do you come to that conclusion, and why does it matter that much to you?
I don't know. It's so bizarre. I remember when this whole experiment started with the internet years and years back, and people
Mhm.
thought you're gonna want you're gonna want secrecy. You're not gonna want to put yourself out there and use your real name because you're gonna want to hide some of your dark stuff. People
Mhm.
don't. It turns out people don't give a shit. They'll like
Yeah.
straight up put their name, where they work, everything, and they'll just go full lock, stock, and barrel on your ass, and they'll
Oh
just be
yeah.
proud of it
Oh
because
yeah.
it's incredible. I wish that and that's the thing that I think has changed the most in movie criticism in the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 years, and it's been the rise of the Hollywood's all pedophiles, and if you're going against this type of movie, then you hate this group of people,
Mhm.
and it's like we're a movie review channel. Where did you come up with all this other stuff?
Yeah, it's some weird form of YouTubers and bloggers and TikTokers and everything suddenly getting access to things that traditionally only professional critics and
Yeah,
people that have degrees used to be able to get into. And so I think it's the weirdest manifestation of jealousy to where you get
yeah,
people where they're like, well, I don't have a fucking degree. I have the same qualifications as this guy. Why doesn't anybody care what I say? This is
right,
bullshit. And it just manifests in hating on the other person. It's just like, oh, we disagree on this movie, so obviously you're a piece of shit, and I'm going to
right,
tell you
right.
behind a keyboard.
Oh, you don't like Asian food? Why do you hate Asian people? I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of the
exactly.
equivalent of what I'm getting now. And
Yeah.
apparently I'm not alone, which is even, I guess, more sad that it's not an isolated event. This is something we're kind of seeing across the board.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's not the extreme people even getting it. It's just like the regular kind of boring people getting
Yeah. And that new trend of like Rotten Tomatoes doesn't know shit. And I'm like, who's Rotten Tomatoes? It's
It's
not
one
some guy.
dude. It's
Yeah.
one guy. He's got a twirly mustache. Like, they're on to me.
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I will say Rotten Tomatoes, like you're Rotten Tomatoes certified, I assume.
I
Yeah,
am.
I am too, which I laugh at. It's like they've already approved everyone else at this point. So they're like, oh yeah, he's been around for a while. Let's throw him a bone. But I won't put I find myself not reviewing every movie I see on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if you're the same way because I genuinely do care for some stupid reason if I give it a fresh or a rotten at the end of the day. So I'll look at something like Fast and the Furious 10.
Mhm.
I think it's a pretty terrible movie, but I know it has a massive audience that this is exactly what they want. They
Yeah.
want no stakes, they want a whole bunch of people, they want a plot that doesn't make sense, and then a bunch of action. So in that sense, for them, the movie is exactly what they're paying for, and I guess it's fresh. But for me, it's like this doesn't match a lot of the stuff that I look for in a film. So I think it's a bad movie, and so I won't even rate it on Rotten
Hmm.
Tomatoes because it's a binary 0 and 1 at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious 10 falls for me into the 6 or 7 camp. Um,
Yeah, I just wish more people knew how to actually use Rotten Tomatoes. So, like,
mhm.
they don't understand, like, I think so many people have this understanding of it, like, the percentage rating is like a grade on a test. Like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's
this
what they
thing
do.
got a
That's what they think. Yeah.
yeah, this got a 95," and it's like, okay, well, if you dive into that, 95% of critics gave it a 3 out of 5. So that means that most people agree it's a decent movie. And
Yeah, and Cody, that's exactly why, because I know how that works.
uh-huh.
And it's like I know people are going to look at the overall score and say, "Well, Fast 10 is a 95 out of 100. It's right up there with Schindler's List as
Mhm.
far as quality." And so I don't want to contribute to the I don't want to give my 3-star positive because people
Yeah.
aren't going to see the star. They're going to see the overall percentage. But
Yeah.
that's just something I need to weirdly get over, I guess.
Yeah.
Um let's see what else. I guess I can open it up for questions. I don't want to keep Cody too long. I didn't even give him a time frame on this little live stream, but I just
No
wanted to
rush.
like say hi, get to know you a little bit, and hopefully we can do this once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I used to do movie feuds. I haven't
Mhm.
done it in years, but with this whole new setup I have going on, I think a live movie feuds would be really fun. If there's a movie you and I disagree on, which we can chat off we can chat, on Twitter or whatever at some point privately, and I can just throw some movies out at you that are fun to debate, and you
Okay.
can be like, "Well, hang on, Adam, you don't like Avatar: The Last Airbender? It's a critically underappreciated cinematic achievement." And then we can definitely do a movie feud on it, which would be a lot of fun. But yeah, so any questions for Cody or I, throw out a super chat. I will answer them. And then while that's happening, Cody, why don't you tell me a couple of your favorite movies of all time?
My favorite movie of all time, I often say, is Die Hard. That's the
Yes,
one that I rewatch every single Christmas day. It
because
brings
it's a
me a lot of
Christmas
joy.
movie. Because it's a
Absolutely,
Christmas movie. Yeah.
absolutely.
Welcome to the party, pal. You take
Yes,
away the Christmas elements of Die Hard, and it loses 50% of its charm.
yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
all
the
baked
weirdest argument in
around
the
it.
world.
It is so weird.
Yeah, I think people have such a surface value look on what a Christmas movie is when they're so hard to like, no, it's not. Bruce Willis even said it's not. I'm like, no, he said that as a joke, saying it's a Bruce Willis fucking movie. Not what he was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so Die Hard is way up there for me. Terminator 2 is probably a close second, and on some
Yep.
days that might even be number one.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's very important to me throughout my childhood. You go into horror, you got things like John Carpenter's The Thing, The Lost Boys, Dream Warriors, Pet Cemetery is a big one for me, the original one. Get into comedies, and I love Midnight Run. It's my favorite comedy of all time. With Robert De Niro, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle
Classic.
Buck.
Class.
Yeah,
I love Uncle Buck, man.
so do I.
That
That's the
movie's
ultimate comfort
so
movie.
under John Hughes had so many good movies in that time
Hmm.
period.
Absolutely.
All white people, of course, because racism, but no.
Except for Long Duck Dong.
I didn't see that. Is that a real movie?
It's a character from 16 Candles. The
Oh, I was
Asian
gonna
guy.
say I don't remember that movie. Okay, the character of 16 Candles.
This
16
underknown
Candles.
classic.
Yeah, I haven't seen 16 Candles since I was like 9.
Yeah.
That's not one of my. I'm more of a Ferris Bueller side of things, but Matt Sclero, who I actually became good friends with on YouTube, and I found out he lived in South Carolina, so he's been going to some movies with me. He actually saw the Freedom one recently. He was very excited about that movie. Yeah, he walked away in tears. He said, "Adam, this movie is changing everyone. People didn't know trafficking was a thing before, and now they know. And now it's Hollywood lost." It was basically what he said. He says, "Hi, Cody. I haven't seen your channel yet." Oh, I can highlight this. I think that's one of the things I can do. What are some of your favorite movies? Top 5 list or whatever. Matt, you wasted $10 on that.
I can let's see. I can pull up. This is the only thing I use Letterboxd for. So I did a video. Back to the Future. That's what I didn't
hang on,
mention.
Cody. This is really embarrassing, but I have a laptop that I move around and I didn't plug it in. So we are on borrowed time. You talk. I'm going to go get my charge cable to make sure this doesn't die. All right.
Go ahead. So Back to the Future is in my top 5. I didn't mention that one. That to me, if there's ever been a perfect movie, that is the one. Goodfellas is huge. One of my favorites. True Romance, the Tony Scott movie written by Quentin Tarantino. A massive fan of that one. Warrior, the movie with Tom Hardy, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name, unfortunately. God, can't think of it. You're on the spot. Sometimes you forget things that you know. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, another massive favorite of mine. And since we were talking about Christmas movies, and this is one that not a whole lot of people know, one that's really high up on my list of favorites is a movie called The Ref with Dennis Leary. So if you love Christmas movies that are a little harder edged, a little more adult, that one's one to check out. So those are some other of my favorites to kind of color out that top 15 or so.
Cody, that was intense. I was in like a madcap dash running around the house. I'm like pulling shit out of my bag, trying to find it. Like, where's the charger?
Yeah.
It's plugged into the wall right next to me, but we got that.
I had one worse. I was doing a live stream with somebody, and somehow I'm using a MacBook, and like the MacBook little power box that I have, I went to go plug it in and it snapped. And I was like,
oh no.
Well, you got me for another 5.5 minutes. So let's get this going.
You said Back to the Future, right? I love Back to the Future.
Yeah. I love Back to the Future. That's,
trilogy? Trilogy as a whole?
I have the first one in my top 100, but I love the trilogy. That's one of those, my favorite trilogies ever.
It's a great franchise. I'm glad they haven't ruined it yet.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for Zach. They're just waiting for Zemeckis to die.
Yeah.
Like, we got him. Okay, Bobby Once with the $1.99 super chat says, "What a crossover! Much love to both of y'all." Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. Matt's back, pissed off. Thanks, Adam. Never mind. Matt's not happy about it, unless that was a genuine thanks. But I'm guessing he was like, Adam. Okay, Master Sergeant with $10 super chat, winning. Adam and Cody, any curiosity or excitement for Rebel Moon? Snyder! Adam hates that.
I
Cody,
don't know too much about it.
What are your thoughts on Snyder?
I like a lot of Snyder's movies, but his fan base is ruining it for me, to where it's just like, okay, like just stop. Just fucking stop. Like, yes, he got screwed over. Yes, his movie was better than the one that they made.
A little, yeah.
It's just stop. Let it go.
So you're getting this too on Twitter? Are you talking about?
Oh yeah. Anytime anything DC
what is
comes
going
up,
on with
it's just
that?
like, give it back to Snyder, and I'm like, move the fuck on.
I never know if it's just my like curated feed or if the trending is for everyone. Snyder and like fire James Gunn and whatever is trending every single week, multiple times. And it's always the most cringe-inducing shit ever. Like some guy will be like, I never realized this before, and he'll show like a side-by-side of the Snyder cut and the Whedon cut, and it'll be some color grading difference. Like he just discovered the fucking Ark of the Covenant, and I'm sitting there like, this is something to bring up as a gotcha. And there'll be like 5 million likes and a bunch of comments. It's like, we got him.
Yeah, like it's just the weirdest thing. Like
Yeah.
you can be a fan of Snyder, you can acknowledge that the guy got fucked over, you can acknowledge that they ruined his vision and they hacked his Batman v Superman up in the theaters and set it
Yeah.
up for failure and they destroyed. You can agree with all of that and still put it to bed, have closure that you got to see his vision finished, and have optimism for the future. Like
Well, you give them an inch, they take a mile
yeah,
is
or
the old
20.
or 20 miles. That's the old adage. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a 300 in probably my top 50 of all time.
Yeah.
I
I love
freaking
his
love that
Dawn of the
film.
Dead. That's still
Dawn of
my
the Dead
favorite.
is brilliant, which is funny because you know who wrote that?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. They're
Bastard.
if he only knew then what he knew now, that Gunn would stab him in the back.
Yeah, but Snyder changed all his ideas. So, no, whatever the fuck their argument's going to be.
That's the blue Snyder's the blueprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question, Master Sergeant, any excitement for Rebel Moon? No, because I saw the last movie he put out on Netflix and it was atrociously bad.
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. What did you think of Army of the Dead?
I liked it. I didn't like it anywhere near as much as Dawn of the Dead. It felt bloated to me, and
I
that's
can't
my
believe you
worry for
liked it.
Rebel Moon. To
You liked
where
like the robot zombie that they threw in and the
there was some cool elements to it. I had some fun with it. I didn't love it, but the main thing I took away from is like, oh, well, since Warner Brothers fucked him over so bad, now he's going to get like final cut on everything that he does, and so
yeah.
I'm
Yep.
worried that Rebel Moon is going to be like an hour longer than it needs to be.
It's absolutely going to be 2.5 hours long. I don't think there's
Yeah.
any question about that. The Snyder cut, it's funny because the Snyder cut is better than the Whedon cut. I agree in some senses.
Hmm.
I'm glad the Whedon cut is like an easy breezy cover girl 2 hours long,
Hmm.
as opposed to the Snyder cut that's like 17 hours long and has no color in it. And for some reason, after the movie's over, there's these epilogues that are just the worst things ever. Like the Joker's talking about a reach around, and
Oh yeah.
it's just so bad.
Hmm.
Uh, but there is some really good stuff for that movie. So it's like one step forward, two steps back, sort of thing with it.
Yeah. The best version of that movie is like a 3-hour compromise where
Yeah,
you know, and obviously that's what the Snyder cut was supposed to be. It was supposed to be what the perfect version of his movie is with all the extra shit. And it's just like, here, this is everything that I was going to do, just splurged on a canvas.
yeah.
So I wish there was a 3-hour cut out there that would like make the best version of that movie. And to me, that would be my
Who
preferred cut.
who does that? There's an actor that did that a couple times. He did like a Star Wars cut of the prequels, and he did the Hobbit cut. I
Oh, I
think it
don't know.
was Topher Grace. I want to say,
Oh, really?
yeah, Topher.
Venom?
Yeah, of course. What he's his most popular character, Venom.
Yeah.
Eddie Brock himself. He years ago he was like doing these like edits, these fan edits, and he was
Hmm.
releasing them. And I haven't watched it, but I guess the Hobbit cut's really good. It's basically all three movies condensed into a 3.5 hour film.
Oh man, I wish I would have had that when I had to watch it for a ranking last year. Man, those movies. I made the mistake of letting everybody convince me because I had never seen the Lord of the Rings movies before. I'm not
I
a big
love.
fantasy guy.
I'm a. They're like it's my favorite trilogy, Lord of the Rings.
Gotcha. Well, I had everybody unfortunately convince me that for my first viewing experience, I should watch the extended cuts. There's no other cuts to watch, and my God.
They're over 4 hours, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, I mean,
every movie is split across 2 Blu-ray discs.
yeah,
So
Cody.
I
I mean, it's the only way to watch it is the director's cut. If you're
yeah,
if you're a fan, if
I
you're a
was
fan,
watching them with my wife, my poor soul of a wife, and it was hilarious because so we watch, you know, they put disc 1 of Fellowship of the Ring, and then I go disc 2 of Fellowship of the Ring, and then I put in disc 1 of Two Towers,
that's
and she
right.
go, "Oh, good, this is the third movie. This is it, right?" And I was like, "No, no, it's not.
You better
We're
bring
just
out
getting
another.
started."
We're gonna need more popcorn.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
just round one still.
Cue up the DoorDash.
Oh my god. I honestly on a rainy Sunday, there's nothing better to me than firing up the Lord of the Rings trilogy on Blu-ray, extended editions. But I understand. I understand if you're not into fantasy, that's not your thing.
Yeah,
What was I gonna say on that?
Rebel Moon.
Yeah, I don't. What is Rebel Moon even about? Do you know?
I don't know the plot of it, but I've seen pictures. The cast looks cool. It looks like some kind of a riff on like Guardians of the Galaxy, Star
Okay.
Wars type stuff. It's probably going to be darker, but it's like a space
Okay.
action sci-fi thing.
I mean, I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
Again,
Oh, I will too.
I
Yeah.
feel like Snyder got a little too Tim Burton-ish for himself, where he kind of crawled up his own ass and came out worse for it. Tim Burton had amazing movies, you know, in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of peaked, I think, at Big Fish, and then it just went full-blown CG. And Snyder, I feel like, had that too, with Dawn of the Dead and 300 and even Man of Steel. And then BVS is kind of where I felt like he was losing the plot and just going to Snyder. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of been that way for me ever since. He's not the same director for me, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. We got what do we got here? Mickey C with a $2 super chat. Ready for Oppenheimer? So wait, ready for Oppenheimer so white conversation. Yeah, oh God. Yeah, he's saying that it's gonna be the left's gonna be crying about not enough diversity in Oppenheimer. I'm guessing is
Were
what
any
he's
of these real life people that they're portraying black or
I
Asian or
don't
anything, and they're portrayed by a white actor? Because otherwise, missed me with all that shit.
yeah, I don't know. I think there's I I don't think about that. I think Cody, I think you're like me where I don't ever think about that shit. Like
No, I
when a
never do.
movie is announced, the first thing that comes to my head is usually, oh great, another fucking remake. How
Uh-huh.
refreshing, or another sequel, or we don't need this. Or on occasion it's awesome. I'm excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's never oh, who are they going to race swap and who are they going to gender swap and what's the
Mm-hmm.
agenda? I just that stuff is so boring to me.
Oh, me
And
too.
it's so boring. And
It kills me when I'm in the movie and I'll hear one line of dialogue and I'm like, "Oh,
you
fucking God. I'm
know
gonna
that
get
that's the
500 comments about that one
well,
remark."
because
Like,
it's the same thing we were talking about. You make
uh-huh.
one mistake in your movie edit or your
Mhm.
review, and that's all the comments are gonna harp on. And
Yeah,
that
it was
and now I'm at the point where I'm like, if that's said in like Batman or whatever, it's okay. Well, I already know what the
yeah.
outrage channels are gonna be crying about for the
That was
next
gonna
6
be my
months.
example
Yeah.
when I said the Batman, she's like, "These white privileged assholes," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go."
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's dumb. My favorite one that I've been getting a lot over the past year is, "Cody, why didn't you mention the fact that all the villainous characters are white?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"'Cause I
Jesus.
didn't care or think that that mattered or there was anything being said beyond just bad guys in a movie."
The same for the same reason we never mention when all the bad guys are Russian
Yeah.
or you know, Muslim or you know, whatever it is. The funny part about the white bad guy thing is
Mhm.
usually the hero's white too.
Yeah.
So it kind of like cancels out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, you know, the worst blowback I ever got, and I blame myself for the approach because I'm kind of a smartass. If you haven't noticed, was I put out a video I think last year. I lost a lot of support from that one. I said no, Hollywood doesn't hate white men,
Mhm.
and I brought facts. I listed every single month of movies coming out, blockbusters, and they were almost all primarily white dudes
Mhm.
or at least white women. But I mean, it was seriously like 85% white
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
white dude, white dude, white dude, white dude. And yet the conversation for that last year was Hollywood hates white men. They're erasing them. The woman's taking over the property, which often is never the case, but
Mhm.
that's what's played up online. And yeah,
Yeah. Like
it's
an
just
Indiana Jones.
like Indiana Jones, which didn't happen at all.
That killed me whenever I had people because I saw it in a press screening 2 weeks
Yeah,
before it came out, and so I put my review out, and I kept getting comments, and I had 2 different people find my professional email and send it to their, like, my work email address, and they were like, "These are the leaks that have been talked about online. Can you please confirm or deny them?" And it's literally just bullet points, like, "Woman punches Indiana Jones," and this and that, and I'm like, I I I'm racking my brain. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, why? I don't understand people that want to go and just have all the details of a movie before you see it. Like, to me, that
yeah.
just defeats the point, and I don't understand what your existence is. So beyond that, it blew my mind, and I just laughed at, like, clearly some, like, anti-woke channel leaked a bunch of shit
Yeah.
and then just cherry picked a few details and framed them in a way where it's woke, where I'm just like, Okay, like, technically,
I
yes, that
mean,
happens, but it's not in the way that you're trying to portray it."
they're essentially tabloid gossip at this point, and people always like the tabloid gossip stuff. So I guess that they'll always have a place in our hearts.
Mhm.
The Yeah, I could spend hours on this. It's not even worth going into because I can already hear
Mhm.
the people unsubbing from the channel just because I brought it up. Okay, Frank G 199 super chat says rate your excitement for Aquaman 2 from 1 to 10. Is there
3.
anything less than a 1 that you can give?
I really enjoyed the first Aquaman. I enjoyed it more than most people,
Yeah, you
but
did because I didn't really enjoy that movie. I didn't hate it
yeah.
though. I thought it was just again we're in that 5 or 6 range.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I had a really good time with it, but they haven't shown anything about it. Like, it's coming out in December. I still haven't seen a single frame of it. And then you have the whole thing now where it's just like the DC
Wait, it
universe is
comes out this
ending.
December?
Yeah.
What? It's like
Yeah,
5 months.
that's what I'm saying. Usually you see a trailer or something like at least a year out, and that's, too
That's
far away, but still,
wild.
I haven't seen anything. I've heard nothing but terrible things about the test screenings because I'm a few people removed from some guys that got to see it like a year or two ago, and then they got to see it again now in its new form, and they're like, the movie's unrecognizable. They've tinkered with it
Wow.
so much.
Okay.
And with the DC universe ending, I just kind of don't care. Like the Flash was
Yeah.
was fun enough for me, but it's hard for me to get invested when I know this is kind of meaningless and we're going to discard all this stuff in
Did
a year.
did you think The Flash was gonna bomb so
No,
badly? No, I didn't
no, I
either.
was
I thought
I
that was
was
a
really
slam
surprised.
dunk.
I was kind of in the middle because I never bought into. I had so many people that were just convinced that Michael Keaton was going to bring hundreds of millions, and I was like, no, dude. Like,
Yeah, I
Michael
didn't I
Keaton's
didn't think that
cool,
either,
but
but
yeah, I kept getting a lot of people telling me that because I wasn't expecting to like The Flash very much. I was just kind of over it. And, everybody's like, "No, man, Michael Keaton's he's gonna bring all these people, he's gonna bring hundreds of millions." And I'm like,
mhm.
"No." And then but I didn't expect the movie to bomb because I saw it and
I
it was
didn't
good. I was
either.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it might do pretty well." Nope.
Yeah, I was honestly shocked. I was thinking 7, 800 million easily, and I don't
Yeah.
even think it's made 300 million. It's
Yeah.
just I
That
think
that
I said an article that said it lost 200 million for Warner Brothers,
Mhm.
which almost seems generous based on the numbers I saw, but who knows? That's
Yeah.
just wild.
I think after that whole Ezra Miller thing happened, and
Yeah.
after they got the acquisition and they completely changed directions, I honestly think, in hindsight's 2020, I think they should have just shelved everything. For as much shit as they get for the Batgirl thing, they
Yeah,
should have just shelved everything. Be like, no, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna give you guys like 3 years with no DC shit to cleanse your palates, and then we'll
that's
see you
right.
in 2025 with Superman.
Yeah. Or sell the movies to like Netflix as exclusives or something and just walk away from them. Let
Yeah,
them rebrand them as Netflix
yeah.
exclusive things.
Like you got
Uh,
Blue Beetle coming out that actually looks like
oh,
it's a lot of fun,
I
but
think that
it.
looks
Oh,
terrible.
really?
I think that looks so bad. I can't even. It looks like a straight to streaming movie
Hmm.
from
Originally,
before
it was.
streaming. Well, before streaming was even a thing. I feel like it's a
Mhm,
movie that was around that awkward time of the Daredevil original with Ben Affleck
mhm.
and like Ghost Rider and Jonah Hex. That's where that looks like it fits in.
That's
And then
fair.
they overcolored it with Shang-Chi kind of a look.
Blues and purples everywhere.
Yeah, it looks really rough. And I don't know, we'll see, but I'm not predicting that's going to be a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks fun enough to me, but there's no way in hell that thing is not gonna be a major bomb. And even though Aquaman, shockingly, the first one is the highest grossing
Mhm.
DC film of all time, even over the Nolan movies, I don't think the second one's gonna make very much money.
I mean, I'm horrible at predictions. I've been wrong, I think, on every single movie prediction I've made
Mhm.
in the last few months. I said Avatar 2, which again, why would I go against Cameron? He always performs every time,
Mhm.
but something about the way COVID was going and the economy, and I was just like, I don't know, maybe people aren't seeing movies like they are. It's not going to do that well,
Yeah.
and it did incredibly well.
I
People
have my
were,
reservations on that one
yeah,
too, because
yeah.
as massive as the first Avatar was, and even
Hmm.
after the second one, I still don't feel like Avatar is really a big pop culture thing.
Did you like Avatar 2?
I liked it. I didn't love it anywhere near as a lot of people. I thought that I thought that the main goal of the movie, which is to like visually mesmerize you, I thought
Yeah.
that that worked, but I thought it also exhausted me after about the first hour and a half. I was just like, okay, we're still fucking swimming. Jesus. I thought the
Yeah.
villain sucked.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand the human kid spider, and it didn't really feel like it advanced the characters all that much. It was just like, now they have kids. Okay,
I feel like they
cool.
kind of devolved some of the characters. Jake Sully, or whatever the hell his
Hmm.
name is, even I don't even remember. He like they just straight up abandoned their tribe from the first movie that they spent the entire time like getting to know and protect. And I don't know what world we live in where Jake Sully and his family leave the tribe, and the general and the soldiers is just like, well, we got intel that they moved on. Let's leave these people alone, even though we've been fighting them the entire time. Like, it's
Yeah.
so bizarre.
Yeah, I
Uh,
thought it was really lame. Even though
yeah,
I love Stephen Lang, I thought it was lame that he came back as the villain, and he's going
yeah,
to be
that
the
was
villain for
so
the
bad.
whole 5 movies
I
apparently.
mean, I'm honestly out. I did not like Avatar 2 at all, and the first one I do like.
Hmm.
But now this, much like The Last Jedi for me, really sullies the whole first
Hey,
experience, huh? All right.
Tudunch.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Aquaman 2, neither of us are excited for that. Thank you for the super chat, Frank. Matt's back. Shout out of a cannon with 4.99 says, "Hey Cody, True Romance and Back to the Future are two of my favorites as well. Do you agree that the movie Signs is completely overrated?" Here we go. Here we go. Tread lightly, Cody.
I don't agree at all. I love Signs.
Yeah, we got him. We got him. I like Signs too, dude. I think
Yeah,
it's just a fun, like kind of a B movie slasher, bizarre
yeah,
film.
I
How
love
do you
that movie
explain the fact that the aliens landed on a planet primarily of water?
because they didn't have a choice.
Exactly right. That's what I say in my headcanon. The nice thing is M. Night leaves it completely open, since it's
Yeah.
from the perspective of this family on the farm, that
Hmm.
you can come up with whatever reason you want. It doesn't really matter. Like,
Yeah.
the aliens were on the run, they had to land, or their ship was out of fuel, they had to land. It doesn't matter.
Well, when you listen to what his son says, where it's one of two outcomes, they either come to explore the universe like Star Trek, where they're like, "Hey, let's shake hands and sing Kumbaya,"
Yeah.
or their planet's fucked and they're trying to take over Earth, and
Right.
so they get to Earth, they have no choice. They got no choice, even though they're you know weakened by water. They
Yeah.
try to stay away from the water, take over the Earth. Humans figure it out pretty quick and shoo them away. That's never been a plot hole to me. I've never really
Yeah,
gotten
and I
the
mean,
criticism with
you
that one.
could dive deeper and say, well, there's been crop circles there forever, so they've clearly been there before and they've investigated and whatnot. I just
Hmm.
don't really care either, because that's not the point of the movie. The point of the
That too.
movie is about, finding redemption, finding your faith. And
Hmm.
again, I'm not like a religious spiritual person at all, really. I probably
No,
should be
it
more,
resonates pretty well
but
in that movie,
yeah,
though.
but the message is just solid.
Yeah.
I like characters that have struggles they have to overcome, and that's fascinating to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, Matt. So I'm sorry, dude. Matt. Well, I guess we have more
Team
to talk about.
signs, hashtag.
One of the first times I met Matt, he had like a laundry list of things to go over with me when we met in
Mhm.
person. He's like, "I'm not psycho, first of all." I'm like, "I didn't think you were, but now I'm starting to question it." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Secondly,
This sounds like something a psycho would say.
yeah." He's like, "Secondly, how dare you, sir? Here's my science synopsis." Like, "Oh shit, we're gonna get into this." But no, now he just gives me a hard time, and it's all
Yeah.
good.
Fun
Uh,
fact, Signs was the first movie I ever saw 3 times in theaters, and I've never seen a movie more than 3 times in theaters. I'm
oh,
not one of those guys that can go 9 or 10 times.
I think 3 is my record too. I saw Independence Day, or ID4,
Mhm.
for the purists, 3 times. I saw The Fifth Element 3 times. Jurassic Park definitely saw it 3 times, and The Matrix 3
Mhm.
times. The Matrix, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Matrix trilogy, Cody?
There was more than one?
Ooh, okay. All right. All right.
I've
I've
struggled.
softened on them. I've softened on them a lot. The new one though, we don't talk about that pile of shit.
Yeah, I don't like any of the sequels
Oof.
of those.
Oof.
I love the first one.
Yeah.
There's certain movies that to me should have never had sequels, and that's one of them.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
I just love the action of the second one.
No, there's some good moments in all 4 of them. There's moments
Mhm.
that are cool, but just that they get way too bogged down in the lore and the weirdness, and it just
Yes. Oh yeah. It's
yeah.
it's like it's John Wick to me now, where John
Mm.
Wick 1 had a very
Simple and basic.
exactly, and everybody can kind of resonate with it. My wife loves John Wick 1.
Mhm.
By the time we're at 4, it's about the high table, and there's all these like different everybody's an assassin. I don't know if there's actually a real person on earth that doesn't know how to use a katana and a gun at the same time.
Yeah.
Like there's babies pulling out guns. I feel like it completely lost the point. Still fun, but
Mhm.
very superficial by the
Oh, yeah.
fourth one. And again, do we need a 3-hour John Wick 4? God damn, that movie's so long.
I was feeling the runtime until they
Oh.
started doing the Warriors callback, and that perked me back up. Then I was like, "Alright, you got me for the last hour and 20 minutes."
But then they're, like, falling down the stairs like Three Stooges over and over
Yeah.
again.
Mhm.
Yeah. And True Romance is a great movie. I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
I saw True Romance for the first time not even 10 years ago. I
Oh,
was
wow.
Yeah, this is Christian Slater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, and I think it was it produced by or written by,
Tarantino?
Tarantino, yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
he wrote this is when he was first starting out, so I think he was just kinda trying to, make money, have a
Yeah,
career, and so he had Reservoir Dogs, and he sold the script for that one, and, that's actually my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie if we're gonna include the movies that he wrote and didn't direct.
okay, yeah,
Mhm.
it's a good flick. Okay, what do we got here? Super chat from Sean Gregerson, 199. Rebel Moon was a Star Wars film Snyder wrote.
Yeah, that pretty much what I was kinda getting the impressions of.
Okay, so it's got a very Star Wars flavor to it.
Mhm.
Maybe it'll be better than the Star Wars stuff that we've been getting.
Ugh,
Can't get
dude.
much worse.
Yeah, I'm not one that's, like, passionately hates, some of the movies, but my god, like, I loved The Force Awakens. Like, to me,
Yeah,
like,
I did too.
yeah, that put me on cloud 9, and, I used to think I was a Star Wars fan until I joined YouTube and realized that I'm casual at best. But, but yeah, after the sequel trilogy and then after a couple of the Disney Plus stuff, dude, I don't even care about Star Wars anymore, and anything they announce, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ah, that's gonna get fucking canceled, I don't care. I'll believe it when it's in theaters and I can walk in."
Disney has done a remarkably impressive job of destroying all of their good brands. I mean,
Yeah,
MCU is the same way. I do not care at all. Like, what's the show that's on
uh,
right now with Samuel L. Jackson?
haven't watched a second of it.
Nor have I. Nor have I, and
Yeah,
I have no desire. And The Mandalorian last season was atrociously bad. I
yeah.
found it embarrassing. So yeah, the Star Wars, the MCU, it's all pretty much garbage in my opinion now.
Yeah, I used to adore the MCU. I used to
Yeah,
be one of those guys that even if I didn't know shit about the character, I'm like, "I'm day 1. I love
yeah.
these movies." And yeah, somewhere after Endgame, between Endgame being kind of the end of the story for me and then
Mhm.
Disney Plus just spamming all kinds of shit where I'm just, like, overwhelmed, I just
Yeah.
stopped caring. I'm like, "Whatever."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a couple gems still coming out.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Spider-Man: No Way Home, I'm not near as high on as a lot of people, but it was good. And then
Mhm.
Guardians 3, I absolutely adored. So
Yeah.
there's
I had a
still
good time with Shang-Chi, that was fine.
yeah, I thought that was fine. I thought
Mhm.
that's another one of those movies that's kind of in the 6, 7 range.
Yeah.
Again, maybe
I'm one of those
maybe
rare
shave
people.
off 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm one of those rare people that didn't even think Quantumania was as bad as a lot of people were making it out to
Well,
be.
now and you can just leave the channel now. We're done. We're done here. We're done here. Cody's never coming back.
There
No,
you
I
go.
did. I call that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Shitia because
Oh, wow.
I'm really clever.
Quantum Pania.
Well, yeah, yeah. Ryan Walsh, 4.99 super chat. Nothing. Just
Mhm.
silence. He wants
That's
us
what you get.
to take a moment and just reflect. Let's see if we have any more down here. I'm having to scroll, and I don't know how to use this any other way than to just scroll. There we go. Ethan B, $10 powerful super chat says, thoughts on last days on Mars.
What the fuck is
This,
that?
you know what Ethan B is doing right now? He's flexing. He's flexing.
Last Days on
He knows we
Mars.
have no idea what this is. And now he's
2013 movie starring Liev Schreiber, or
yep.
is that Liev
He's
Schreiber?
sitting back with his Chardonnay and he's saying, I know more about film than you bozos do.
I've never heard of it. So,
I've never heard of it either.
those are
Let
my
me
thoughts.
Last Days on Mars, quickly bring up the synopsis. No, I've never heard of this either. Although that little thumbnail I'm seeing of Shriver looking up at the control panel, that looks familiar, and that's it.
Mhm.
That's all I have. So we have no thoughts. Sorry you wasted $10, Ethan B. If you'd like to ask a question, I'll give you a free one for $10 more because I don't know. I don't know how to use this stuff well. We have a 4.99 from Cine Fanatic, kind of a fancy spelling. Is that a French spelling? 4.99. You've had very guy centric films so far. Do either of you like softer films or typically chick flicks?
I mean,
You can go. You can
there's
go.
a few that I like. Most of my favorite movies are pretty dude centric, or they're just kind
Mm.
of not chick flicks. But like, I love oh shit, what's the name of that movie with Steve Carell? Crazy Stupid Love. I
That's
love that
decent. Yeah,
movie.
it's
That's a
okay.
great comedy. You know what really like this ridiculously sappy sick chick flick that I actually enjoy and I can never understand why
What's
is
that?
A Walk to Remember.
Is
I
that
don't know.
Mandy? Is that a Mandy Moore
Mandy
vehicle?
Moore. Yeah,
I
exactly. For some
don't
reason
think
that
I've
one
seen
always
that.
kind of
Does she have
touches the right
cancer in that?
notes. Yeah.
Okay, that is actually a decent movie. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. That,
I'll give you a couple, Cody.
mhm.
Sea Dog. I think I've earned the right to call you that.
There you go.
Stepmom, really good movie.
Mhm.
That's a Sandra Bullock film.
Yeah.
I got that.
Cancer in
Of
that one too.
course, I'm
All the
just a
chick
bit.
flicks are
I'm a
cancer.
big fan of women getting cancer. Is I guess what I'm saying. As long as the woman dies at the end of the movie, I love it. If I
Mhm.
could get a Brie Larson, Kathleen Kennedy cancer pick, I'm in heaven.
$100 million.
Absolutely. No, I don't think A League of Their Own is a chick flick, but I love A League of Their Own. I think it's a strong female lead film. I'll say that
Mhm.
much. Uh, I've I've seen A Devil Wears Prada 3 or 4 times. I'm a big fan of
Oh.
that one. Anything with Meryl Streep, though, I'm pretty solid with. So the Julia and Julia, good flick. Um, what else? I know there's a few others that I watch. I'm not a Pretty Woman guy. I know that a lot of
I
people
like
like
Pretty
Pretty Woman.
Woman.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that one. That's not really my style.
Yeah.
Fried Green Tomatoes, solid
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's decent.
I celebrate anything Sally Fields in. Not Without My Daughter, if we want to go that route. But these are kind of more, I wouldn't say these are like romantic films. These are kind of dramas, and a lot of that times people are dying in them regardless.
I make that joke to my wife and my sisters all the time. Every time they're like, "You gotta watch this." I'm like, "Okay, which one dies? The boyfriend or the girlfriend in this
Yeah,
one?" They all
yeah,
fucking end with you guys crying your eyes out because one of them died tragically.
yeah. The Notebook would be a
I
good
like being
example.
happy watching robots take over the earth and
Yeah,
shit.
that's right. That's right.
Coyote Ugly.
Um,
That's one I just scrolled past that I like. That one's a good one.
that's the Tyra Banks, Pour Some Sugar on Me. Yeah, kind of rags to riches tale of a girl
Mhm.
who,
Thelma and Louise. Does that count? It should count.
I mean,
I'm
they
gonna
both
count it.
die at the end. Both the
Yeah.
women die. So
That's a
yeah,
double
absolutely.
counts.
Yeah, that's it's. What's the female body count in this one? Kill Bill. Kill Bill. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's a torn love affair. Uma Thurman.
Mhm.
That's a good question. I should really do a. Are you on Letterboxd, Corey? Cody? I'm sorry, Cody.
Oh,
Are you
no,
on
you're fine.
Letterboxd?
I'm on Letterbox, but I don't actually post anything on there. I just
Yeah,
use it for like a visual drag and drop for
sure.
big ranking videos. That's it.
Okay, well, you can follow him on there too. He's very active, as he just stated.
Okay.
Um, I should do a little list on there of chick flicks that I like.
Mhm.
That might cause some attention because they might be like, "How dare you? That's not a chick flick. That
Mhm.
doesn't count." Okay, I'm gonna throw two more out and then we'll move on. And these aren't again chick flicks per se, but I don't like musicals that much. But I really like Grease, and I'm a huge fan of La La Land. I think that movie is brilliant.
I am not a fan of musicals whatsoever. The
Yeah.
only one that I adore is the original Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah, Willy
Emphasis on
Wonka's.
original.
Yeah, Willy Wonka. Yes, thank you. What are your thoughts on the new one coming out?
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
It looks like it's going to be fun, and I like the fact the trailer gave a couple little winks that it's definitely seems like this is early Gene Wilder because there's a couple of very direct callbacks to the original, so that makes me more excited.
Okay. I didn't watch it. I have no desire to even watch the trailer. I'll see it, of course, because it'll be a big
Hmm.
movie, but I'll probably go in blind because I just really don't care to even see anything on it.
Gotcha.
Um, see what else we got. Mickey C. Thoughts on actors' strike? I think it's the writers' strike, or are the actors
The
striking now?
actors are also on strike as of today.
Oh, oh my God!
Yeah, so
Just the ones that have money, I assume.
yeah, all of them. Yeah, it's
All of them, all the actors in Hollywood are on strike.
yeah. I mean, I don't know all the details and the ins and outs of it, but if you just boil it down to working people want to be paid fairly, I'm all for it. And
I
I'm
agree.
somebody that my experience with my last job especially makes me very jaded against corporations and big wigs and bosses and shit. So when you see there was an interview that dropped today of Bob Iger, the guy that's the
Yeah,
new CEO of Disney, where
America's
he more or
sweetheart. Yeah.
less He more or less was saying that because of the COVID and the industry is still kind of recovering, that this is a really bad time for them to go on strike, and some of their expectations are unrealistic. And I read stuff like that, and I'm like, it's always interesting how the guys with their private yachts tell the people that just want to be able to afford a mortgage that they're being unrealistic.
Times are tough for everyone. We're all having to make sacrifices. So,
Hmm.
Bob might not be able to take out the yacht more than
Yeah,
362 days a year, which is just a shame.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's easy to kind of just side with people that are getting less.
Hmm.
Actors and writers are that's the whole ball game. I don't really give
Yeah.
a shit if like producer number 3 on a movie is getting a little bit of a pay cut.
Yeah, they're battling AI pretty hard too. There was
Oh
a thing today where the deal that they presented to the actors to try to smooth things over and prevent the strike was, well, we want to do this thing that we're going to suggest to where the people who are background actors, if you just come in for one day and let us scan your body, we'll pay you for that one day, and then we're allowed to use your likeness in the background of movies forever and always without ever paying you
God.
again. And it's like, how the fuck is that a deal for us? That's creepy.
Hollywood probably knows that in 15 years or so, there's going to be YouTube channels and other platforms that are going to AI generate a whole bunch of stuff.
Hmm.
And it's probably going to be decent compared to a lot of the crap that's out in theaters. And it's going to take away from Hollywood, and it's going to
Yeah.
cost them very little. And that's a scary thing to think about, because art
Hmm.
should always be appreciated and should always be created by man, I
Yeah.
think. Or at least that's what I think now. Who knows what will happen? The AI, the Mission Impossible machine will get to me.
Yeah. The entity and
The
Skynet are
entity. They
coming
said
for
it
us.
50,000 times and I can't remember it.
Hmm.
Entity. Speaking of marketing tactics, did you know? Fun fact: I have a marketing background because I'm a web designer and developer. I'll ask you what you did in a second. But
Hmm.
one of the things I learned in school was, the whole Energizer, keep going, 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 or it's going,
Hmm.
it's going, it's going. When they polled people when that trailer or that commercial and that brand was popular, half of them thought it was a copper top commercial. The other thought it was Energizer. So it didn't actually
Oh.
work for the branding of the company. They just knew that keeps going and going and going.
Just want
Yeah,
a stuffed animal, that bunny.
just a random aside for no reason at all. What did you used to do, if I can ask?
Most recently, I
Yeah.
was doing the wiring for aircraft production. I worked for Gulfstream. They
Oh,
build
wow.
yeah. So I was doing all the wiring whenever they actually join the plane together and first start putting electrical systems through it. Previous to that, I did construction materials testing where I would go out to incoming job sites like house lots or whatever, and I would do the soil testing, compaction testing, and stuff before they ever break ground on it.
Nice.
I was a manager at Target for 3 or 4 years. I've done a little bit of everything.
Target's a weird place to work, dude.
Yeah.
You were probably there when they would, at least when I worked at Target, I was a fun story. When we moved to New Ulm in Minnesota, they had a brand new Target Supercenter opening
Hmm.
up, and you could apply ahead of time to work at this new place. And I'll never forget coming home after my little application there, and on the fridge was a letter from Target, and my mom and dad were both in the doorway, arms around each other, just saying, "We're so proud of you, son." And they handed me the thing and it said, "Congratulations. Based on your experience, you are a perfect match for cart attendant at Target." It's like the biggest insult, Bob. Like, you are perfect for the lowest common position we have here.
It literally is the
Yeah,
lowest
yeah.
position.
And they were just they're just beaming. They're like, "We're so proud of you." Like, completely sarcastic, of course. But
That's awesome.
yeah, Target was weird. Every hour at our location, they would announce how much money the store has brought in. And then you had to clap and be like, "Yay, I'm making
Yeah.
$6.50."
Yeah.
It was
People
nuts.
hated me for a while because they used to do this thing up at the front end to where every time you sold one of the Target credit cards or whatever, you're supposed to shout it out like a fucking sports announcer, like, "Hey, John
Oh,
at
the red
aisle
card.
4 just sold a
Yeah.
red card. Everybody clap." And whenever I was watching the front, I would refuse to do that, and they would just
Oh,
get
I
pissed.
did
They're like,
that too.
yeah, they're like, "Where's my shout out?" And I'm like, "Electronics doesn't get shout outs. You get nothing.
Yeah, I
Fucking
was
scan the bags."
always whenever I could kind of like I pride myself on being a very hard worker, but
Mhm.
whenever I could kind of like stick it to the man a little bit, I would.
Oh,
And so
same.
they're like, "Adam, you need to push the red card. Like, oh, okay. And then I don't push the red card. That's my way to get back at you.
I did the same thing. Yeah. They used to bitch at me for it. And I'm like, I'm too busy doing my other duties.
Exactly. You see all these carts out here, jackass? Who do you think's bringing those? You think any Joe Schmo can do this job? I'm the perfect match.
There you go.
Okay, let's see what old Mike Hunt has to say. Are you wearing pants? This is, I guess, a $2 for either of us. I'm not. I'm full Daffy Duck in it right now.
Yeah, this isn't even a full shirt. It cuts off under the nipple.
Beautiful.
I do the least.
Yeah, that's perfect. I got shorts on. They're tan, so it actually kind of does look like I'm not wearing anything. Thanks, Mike. Mike was kind of trolling on the last live stream, so it's nice that he cleaned up his act a little bit.
Ooh.
Brian Walsh, just a beautiful 99-cent super chat. Very elegant and nothing there. Just he wanted to show some support.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, you do. Jan Rose, love seeing Jan. Will you be doing a live stream tomorrow night? I will. And much like Cody, or as I call him now, C Money, for this one time only and never again, I will be doing a Mission Impossible ranking via Letterboxd. We could maybe compare them. Maybe, I don't know, Cody, what time is your video coming up?
It'll probably drop sometime around 2 or 3. I'm going to be on the road going to Orlando tomorrow, so I'm going to get it done tonight and then just have it waiting.
Maybe, when I do my live, we'll jump over on Cody's channel and see what his video has to say. Obviously, I can't play it or anything, or he'll copy strike me and destroy my channel. But we'll take a look and compare and contrast and maybe ridicule his list, and it'll be a good time. Yeah, I am in a live stream at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Brian Walsh with a $1.99 super chat. Is the zombie genre dead, or could it have a future?
So is undead?
Oh, that's
it. No, it's not dead. It's certainly slowing down a bit, though. I think The Walking Dead just overexposed that entire subgenre for a while there. You had The Walking Dead, Zombieland, and something else all going on at once.
And the spinoffs. There's like 2 spinoffs of Walking Dead.
The Last of Us kind of falls into that, and so it's always going to be there, but.
Yeah, there was a time when zombie stuff was coming out hotter than superhero stuff. You had World War Z, Zombieland 2, to name a couple of movies. Cody, what are your thoughts on The Walking Dead?
I loved.
Where did it lose you?
Season 3.
Yes.
I loved the first season. I'm one of the few people that loved the second season. And then season 3, as soon as they had 16 episodes, they've never been able to fill 16 episodes of story.
No.
And so I lasted. I stuck it out until the episode where Negan was going to kill somebody and then they didn't show you. And that was the most infuriated I've ever been.
So insulting as an audience member. That show sucked so hard after that. I mean, it was already getting kind of embarrassing before, but you kind of stayed with it because there was enough characters that you liked. Yeah. But then they started kind of giving more unlikable characters more screen time. And
here's a whole episode about this person. You don't even know their fucking name.
Did you finish it even, or did you walk away?
Well, it's a loaded answer. So I gave up right after they came back and showed who Negan killed. Yes. I was like, okay, fine. I'll give you one more shot. And I hated that season. It was the worst season of TV I've ever watched that I can think of. And so I jumped off of the show and never went back to it. And then right whenever the show was getting ready to end, I was like, all right, I kind of want to do a ranking video. I'm sure people are going to watch it. So I powered through and I binged through seasons 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Oh my God, there's 11 seasons?
Yeah. And the show doesn't even really end. It's just like it technically ends so that they can do 3 spinoff shows with the characters of The Walking Dead. So Daryl's got his own show. God. Negan and Maggie got their own show. Michonne and Rick got their own show. And I was
Rick
like,
is in it again?
He pops up just for them to tease the show with him and Michonne it's coming out sometime.
I walked away. I think it was like a winter season, and they were called Skinwalkers. Does that sound right? They dressed up like the zombies.
The Whisperers.
Oh yeah, zombie horse whisperers, whatever you want to call it. They it was so bad. Where I really thought the show was, and we don't have to spend more time on this, but when Rick went to the garbage people and they all had like these janky haircuts and didn't know how to speak English anymore, it was broken English.
Mhm.
I looked at my wife. I'm like, what the fuck? It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years or a year and a half in the show's run. And why are they
Yeah.
suddenly like acting like
It's
they've
like
never
Planet of
been
the
on
Apes.
Earth? Yeah, exactly. Like human here, we must fight. And they had
Yeah.
this whole weird culture where there's a zombie in a cage match, and it's like Wrath of Khan. Yeah, really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. The zombie genre is not. I mean, it's not dead. It'll always have a future. I think I heard they were going to do a World War Z 2 with Brad Pitt.
They've been talking about that for forever. It made a
And
shitload of money. It's kind of weird that we don't have 4 of them by now.
we'll have one. And we also have, unless they shelved it, but I think it's been unshelved now, the Will Smith I Am Legend 2 Fast Too Furious, whenever that's coming out.
Yeah, that's weird because they're doing a sequel
Yeah.
based off the alternate ending.
Oh my God. Don't get
Which
me
is the
started on
superior ending, but it's still
It
weird.
is the superior. And don't get me started. Did you know, fun fact? Well, I'm an idiot for starters, and I buy movies off Amazon Prime, which
Mhm.
is so stupid because it's one of the worst services on the planet for video streaming. There's
Yeah.
no way to like catalog your movies or anything.
Mhm.
And they charged $3 or $4 extra for the director's cut of that fucking movie for no
Yeah.
reason, just because they know that people will pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot you're a horror guy. There's a couple movies I wanted to talk. The one other thing briefly, I'm sure you love The Descent, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. You know there's two versions of that ending, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you buy it on Amazon Prime, they don't tell you which one you're getting. Spoiler, it's the bad one.
Surprise.
Yeah, I was so excited to show some friends that movie, and it entirely hinges on the cool ending. And it was the American one I had never seen before, and I was
Mhm.
so deflated.
Like, what the fuck is happening
I
here?
scrambled to my computer. I'm like, no, you didn't see that. This
Yeah.
is it. This is it. And I bring up YouTube and some shitty version, and yeah, it was over. The damage was done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it wasn't, but I get what you're saying. Okay, Collie Wooly, $5. I just bought the Blu-ray for the horror mockumentary Lake Mungo. Have you guys seen it? I'm pretty sure Cody has. Never
I
heard
have
of it.
not. I've heard of it. It's on the list. Do you have a list of movies that everybody recommends? It's like a fucking CVS receipt.
Yes, I do actually.
Yeah, it
It's
sucks whenever that's the first casualty of doing this full time is that all of
Yeah.
your fun, relaxing movie going time as just a movie fan is now taken away from you. And every time I sit down to watch something, you have to make the choice of watch something that adds to nothing or watch something for work. And I usually err on the side of being responsible.
I fully agree with you, and that's where I'm at. I have my Patreon request list, and there's currently
Mhm.
a backlog of 14. And I got to tell you, a lot of these movies I'm going to be watching by myself because my family doesn't want to see them, and I have to somehow find a site that even hosts these movies because they're not on Peacock, they're not on any of the streaming services.
Those are always the hardest
They
ones.
should really put more disclaimers on my little perk.
Yeah.
Must be a movie people have heard of. Must have gone to the theaters for more than a day.
You have to buy the movie and provide it to me.
Yes, exactly. Okay, did I answer that question? Oh yeah, we don't know what that is. Sorry, I feel bad when they throw something out there I haven't heard of, but I haven't heard of it. Arkham City rules. $1.99. Arkham City does rule if we're talking about the video game. Hey,
Yes.
it's Tony Morrow. You follow Melanie Mack. I don't know what Melanie Mack is.
No, I don't know either.
Tony, I swear, if this is some like outrage channel.
Melanie Mack.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Social commentary mostly centered on nerd
Looks like a
culture.
Twitch streamer.
It looks like
I just looked that up on Twitter, and she looks like a Twitch streamer. She has that look about her, the little cat ears and shit.
This is definitely one of those anti-woke channels.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep, it's an anti-woke channel. All right.
That would
thanks,
be a
Tony.
no.
That's a hard no for me. Okay, we got a $9.99 super chat from CTB Video Productions. Thoughts on Drive 2011?
Ryan Gosling.
That's a Baby Goose film, yes.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's good.
I'm going to wear this as a badge of dishonor, but I have not seen Drive.
Ooh.
And I've been told by several people to watch Drive.
Yeah,
and then
it's really
I say, Cody, I don't have time to watch Drive. I have to watch Thunderbirds Are Go from 1966. And I have to watch The Wailing, which is a Korean film, and I have to watch
That's 3 hours long.
I have to watch Awakenings by Robin Williams. And a bunch of other fucking movies I've never heard of. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with my life. I do want to see Drive though. I saw Baby Driver. Does that count?
Close.
Yeah.
Stylistically a little different, but
I think I ran through all the super chats. I hope if I missed one. Oh, I guess you can actually star them and see wow. Cody, why don't you tell me that I could do it this way?
Oh, I assumed you were. My bad.
You're supposed to know what I'm thinking and what I'm doing over here. And okay, I think I got all of them. I appreciate it, guys. If there's any more last second ones, there's always like one little straggler at the end.
Yeah, right when you click end stream, it pops in.
We got Brian Walsh with $1.99. Thoughts on Ridley Scott's Legend? Is that out?
Or is it with Tom Cruise? I'm pretty sure that's from like the 80s. I've never seen it. I want to say that's the one with Tom Cruise.
God, do we watch movies even? What? I've never even heard of this movie. Tom Hardy? Is that the movie?
Legend. I'm pretty sure.
I better say Ridley.
Tom
Scott.
Cruise and Tim Curry. Yeah.
There's another Legend with apparently Tom Hardy that I've also never heard of. Oh yeah, 1985. What is this movie?
Short answer, no. Never seen it. I've seen the Tim Curry Devil plenty of times, though, in pictures.
I like Tom Cruise movies, except for The Mummy, and I like Tim Curry. But no, I've never even heard of it. Ridley Scott, I watched, I was a little sad. Did you ever hear of this super bizarre show on what was called HBO Max at the time, if you remember, before the Max days? Raised by Wolves? So fucking weird. It was a Ridley Scott directed. He probably directed like the first or one or two episodes, kind of like David Fincher does. Such a bizarre sci-fi film, kind of like an Adam and Eve thing, where these two robots go to this uninhabited planet and raise human kids, and war breaks loose, and it's just complete insanity. But it got canceled after 2 seasons, and I was a little bummed because, and I wouldn't even say it was good. I'd say it was just really, really, really weird, and it kept me hooked because it was so weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's your Ridley Scott thought. And also, he ruined Aliens. He ruined his own property.
Yeah, I'm not big on those movies either.
Just all of them, or you mean after Alien 1 and 2?
Prometheus and Covenant. And Alien 3. Not a fan of that one either.
No, I'm not a fan of Alien 3.
I'm one of the few people that enjoys Resurrection pretty good, though.
I like Resurrection. As it is. I like Resurrection too. It's fun. It's fun. What I liked about the Alien movies, and this is the one thing they're consistent at, is it's very inconsistent. So the first one's a straight up horror. Second one is sci-fi action. Third one is garbage. And then the fourth one is like a what would you
movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's a B movie. I think that's written by James Gunn.
I think it was Joss Whedon.
There it is. You're right. Joss Whedon. Yep. See, this is why Cody has double my subscribers, because he knows who creates movies and I just bullshit.
One of those J directors that people bitch about.
Yeah. Joss Whedon. Okay. Mike Hunt, $2. Basketball Diaries and The Edge, 1997. Basketball Diaries is a hard no for me, but I really like The Edge. You're talking about Anthony Hopkins and one of the Baldwin brothers, Alec Baldwin. Right?
Baldwin. Yep.
Good flick. They fight a bear. It's awesome.
Yeah. I've never seen Basketball Diaries, but I know enough about it. But The Edge is awesome. I love that one.
Yeah, that was just a good old fashioned 90s action adventure. Man versus the elements. What do we got here? Chris, $2 super chat says awakens. I think it means awakenings, right? Is amazing. Did he pick that? No, he's not the one that actually gave me that request. So, okay, we're going to get at least a couple eyes on that review.
What are your other requests? I'm curious. Maybe I can ease your pain on some of them and tell you they're good.
Okay, so this is funny because this guy Shadow Humor, he requested The Lamb, which I absolutely destroyed recently. I thought that movie was complete garbage. And then he gave me another one that I thought I was going to hate, but I actually ended up liking, which was the TV series Euphoria. I watched the first season.
Damn, you requested a whole
Well,
season, you greedy bitch.
he's at the highest unobtainium tier level,
Ah,
so
okay.
he dropped a decent amount of money for me to watch that, and whatever, it's 8 episodes at least. I threw him a bone. I didn't mind it. I thought it was actually okay. I have to put the review out still, but then I got Sisu, which I just watched today.
That's a pretty good little watch.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I feel like that was
it's quick
almost,
and easy.
yeah, it's hour and a half, which I liked. It did feel almost like it was written by AI. It's like
Yeah,
man versus the elements, dog, John Wick.
fuck
You
the
know,
Nazis.
yeah, fuck Nazis.
It
It was an easy watch. Then we got
was.
Awakenings. We got Final Space. Ever heard
That
of it?
one.
No.
No,
Thunderbirds Are Go.
no.
Nope. I actually have 3 of them that I said reach out on Patreon because I'm pretty sure the movies they requested were even more obscure than those. So I'm hoping to steer them away. I didn't even put their movies down. And then I got Polar Express, I guess, just because I asked that get moved down to the Christmas time at least, so that it might
Yeah.
get more than 20 views. Van Helsing, which
Ah,
this person unironically I think likes. I do not remember liking that movie, but I will have a good time rewatching
most people
it.
don't, but I actually have always have had fun with it. So that one, that's an easy watch.
That's an easy watch. Hugh Jackman's always a good time, regardless. We got Tomorrowland, which I do like, and a very underrated Disney flick actually with George Clooney, and it was directed by Brad Bird.
Yeah.
The Howling just came in a couple days ago. The Howling 7. Apparently apparently it's horrible, like one of the worst movies.
Oh,
Have you seen it?
that person's mean. No, I've only seen the first Howling, but funny enough, I do a video series with a group of friends called 31 on 31, where
Okay.
we pick a theme and we pick either a franchise or a group of franchises and that all their movies add up to 31 and we rank them on the 31st, typically October, but we've done a few midway through the year. But we did one back in May on May 31st that was vampires and werewolves.
Oh, nice.
And specifically because of the Howling, we introduced this new rule to where that we let the audience pick their favorites, and typically we just pick the movies, do the whole franchise, good movies, bad movies all together. But the
Mhm.
Howling notoriously has so many horrible fucking sequels that I was like, I'm not gonna watch through 6 Howling movies that are dreadful just to be able to include the first one. So we're doing new rules this time.
That's awesome.
So that's
I've
pretty
heard of
funny.
the 31 on 31. For some reason, I thought that was like Sean Chandler's show or something. But again,
Mhm,
I only know of YouTubers. I don't actually like go to the channels and study it all.
mhm.
Unless you're anti woke, then I like celebrate your entire thing. Well, if you ever need someone to come on there, I'd be honored to do a 31 on 31.
Cool.
Maybe on maybe on women that die in movies. That seems to
Yeah.
be my bread and
31
butter.
on 31 cancer edition.
Cancer edition. Yeah, cancer victims. And then the last one I got here is Chasing Amy, which I haven't seen. Another Kevin Smith vehicle.
That's a good one. That's actually one of my favorites of his. It's pretty damn funny.
I've heard it's really good, so I'm
Yeah.
excited for that one. And I did like the reason that the Kevin Smith thing got brought up is because I was kind of like, I don't really like Kevin Smith movies. I'm not a fan. And then I was listing all his newer stuff from the last
No wonder.
20 or 30 years, and people are like, have you seen this and this and this? I said, well, those are like his originals. And like, yeah, those are the good ones.
Yeah.
And so someone's been making me watch them, and it's been a good time. I can see why people really like Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah. Do you know the plot of Chasing Amy?
I know nothing about it other than it's part of the Askew universe.
So
And
basically it's
yep,
it's Ben Affleck back before he was like, A-list star Ben Affleck,
yeah,
and he falls in love with a girl and turns out she's a lesbian. It's pretty fucking funny. You
that's
got
awesome.
uh shit, the guy from My Name is Earl, I can't think of his name.
Okay, so
Uh,
yeah, he was also in Mallrats.
yeah, he's like his best friend, and he just gives him shit the entire movie, and it's pretty damn funny.
I
He's
can't
like
remember.
he's really rough, like it's old school, like pre-PC humor where he's just really anti-lesbian, and so everything that he loves about this chick, his friend just trashes her.
That's awesome.
It's pretty damn funny, but it's got a good
I
heart to
miss
it
that
too.
kind of humor, dude.
I do
The,
too.
it,
I do too.
that Jennifer Lawrence movie was pretty damn funny. Did you see
It
that?
came close. It came
It
close.
did.
There was moments where I'm like, "Ah, that's what I miss." And then there was
Yes.
other moments where I'm like, "Yeah, that's new age
Oh, for
launch.
sure. It
Yeah,
definitely was kind of skirting the line, but I
yeah.
still I haven't seen a comedy in so long in theaters. It was just nice to get something.
I haven't seen a comedy in so long that I've laughed at. That's the
Yeah,
sad part.
that's the sad part. Yeah, I think I was talking to Matt about the Askew universe too, and he was saying maybe it wasn't him. I forget every conversation I've ever had anymore, but he said that it's a universe, but the characters aren't playing the same characters in each movie, which seems completely bizarre to me.
Mhm.
So Ben Affleck's character from Mallrats is not the same guy in Chasing Amy.
No, nor the same guy from Dogma.
That's okay. How is that a universe then? If
Yeah,
if nothing's really
it's weird.
connected, it's because the same characters come back. Then I guess Sam Raimi's whole thing is a universe, and James Gunn because they all Christopher Nolan, they all pull in the same actors.
Yep.
Maybe it's Jane Silent Bob. That's the glue.
There they are. Yeah, that's the glue.
Okay. All right. Whenever you need to duck out, let me know. These keep coming in. So again, sub to Cody Leach's channel. He's apparently awesome, and I'm just learning this, which is great. I'm glad that you weren't just a persona online and you're actually a decent dude. Okay, Sean Gregerson 199 says Undead Silence on YouTube with this 0 budget and awesome. Okay, so he's saying it's okay. I've never heard of it.
Neither have I.
Are you gonna add it to your list now?
No.
No. You can add it to my list for Mithril membership, and that price just doubled. Okay.
Yeah.
CTB Video Productions, $1.99. How much to watch Drive 2011? I may like it a little. It's the Mithril membership. Cody, you're gonna cringe at this. Is only $30. Yeah, it's pretty sad. $30. If you stay with it, you can get up to 4 movie requests in the year. If you want to go every month requests, you go to Unobtainium, and it's a bit more money. Let's see. Arkham City's back with $1.99. Better franchise, James Bond or Mission Impossible? On 3. 3, 2, 1. Mission Impossible. Yeah, it's not even close.
I tried my hardest to watch all the older James Bond films for the first time because I'm one of those people that for the longest time I had never watched anything pre-Brosnan. Brosnan was my Bond growing up, and of course I've seen all the Daniel Craig movies. And when the last one, No Time to Die, was coming out, I was like, all right, time to watch them all so I can do a ranking. I made it to Thunderball and had to tap out. So, and I everybody loves the Sean Connery movies, and so the fact that I wasn't enjoying myself and I knew I had like 10 Roger Moore movies down the pipe, I was like, nope, I can't do it. So I haven't seen most of them.
I don't know how you dudes, because I know Chandler, that's like his claim to fame is doing the ranking things. And he comes out with them all the time. I see them show up. I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy's watching these movies. There is no way. Because if I had to do that, I would be miserable. That's too much of a work thing to me and not having a good time. So it is nice to hear that you'll tap out if it's becoming uninteresting to you and you won't just bullcrap it or push through.
I can tell you the moment that I tapped out because like I watched Dr. No, and Dr. No was interesting just because it's so old that it's like, oh, this is where it all got started. That's weird. And then I started with From Russia with Love, which from what I understand is a big favorite, and that movie put me to sleep 3 times. And then I got through Goldfinger, and Goldfinger was decent. Again, just very old though. And then I got to Thunderball, and it was the moment where he put on the jetpack and went, and I was like, I'm done. Fuck it. I'll just rank the Craig movies.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And if you go off the Craig movies and even the Brosnan movies, I think Mission Impossible they're just such more consistently good.
Oh yeah.
You know, you have Mission Impossible 2. It's the black sheep, but it's still a very watchable movie. It's hokey. It's John Woo. You know, you have the triple shots and the birds flying out, but you know what you're gonna get. And Tom Cruise just sells it every time.
Yeah.
Although I don't think anybody looks at him and says, "Oh, Ethan Hunt is great." It's just Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He's not playing
just start
a character.
calling him Tom. Enough of this Ethan shit.
I usually do, honestly. Like Tom Cruise is going through here and there.
My wife asked me because I was watching one of them yesterday, and it got to one of his running scenes because of the big joke that he runs on all of them. And she goes, "Isn't he supposed to be like a really fast runner or something? Isn't that the big shtick?" And I was like, "No, the shtick is that he writes a running scene into every single one of his movies, so he looks faster than the speed of light."
The
running away from a nuke and shit.
oh my god, I know, it's so funny. Speaking of running, I didn't mind the Ezra Miller horrible running that he does
Oh.
in the Flash movie as much as in the Snyder films. Like,
Yeah, it
what
felt
are
a
they
little
doing?
more at home. At least I had a joke with it whenever he doesn't have the powers and he's like,
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. The
yeah, it's
dude's
dumb.
clearly never ran a day in his life.
Mhm,
And the whole Ezra Miller thing, I know he seems like a complete weirdo. I don't
mhm,
know all the accusations and what's true. I don't care. Again, that's none of my business. I'm here to watch movies. But
mhm.
I just never liked him as an actor. So regardless of his baggage, what does Hollywood like about this dude? Have you seen him in anything that you were like, wow, Ezra Miller, fantastic performance?
The only thing I've seen him in that I loved him in is Perks of a Wallflower, or Perks of Being a Wallflower. I
Okay.
thought he was great in that one. There's a movie that he got a lot of recognition for called We Need to Talk About Kevin, and that was
Mm,
one of my early Patreon requests that I had to watch,
was it good?
and, it's worth checking out, but it's just I can't remember specifically what my issue with it was, but it's basically a whole movie where you're watching it from the eyes of a mom where her kid is just fucked in the head right out of the gate, and you could tell this kid is evil from
That's the movie my buddy Matt pointed out and said
yeah.
that he's good in that movie.
Yeah,
So
he's a little creepy in that one, but I just didn't like the movie all that much, but I love Perks of Being a Wallflower.
okay. We
That's
got
kind of a chick flicky kinda thing. I
yeah, I
should have
would
said
say
that
that's
earlier.
I would say that.
Mhm,
But it's also got the indie stank to it, I'm guessing. So it's kind of like a Garden State. You know, where do you draw the line between indie and chick flick?
mhm.
We got Collie back. $2. Thoughts on Men in Black and the sequels?
I love the original. I have
Mhm.
a lot of fun with Men in Black 3. I've never liked 2.
I'm in agreement. I really enjoy the first one. It's an hour and 5 minutes long. I feel like
Mhm. Yeah,
you have an 8 minute intro and a like 8 minute outro, and there's an hour movie in there somewhere. It's really good though. It's fun.
yeah.
I'll never get over the hilarious scene where Will Smith's character is it K or J? I always forget which one's which.
Jay.
Jay, he's dragging the table over, and the guys are all
Uh-huh.
sitting in those awkward chairs. And then he shoots the girl with the quantum physics book, and he just starts going off of it. It's like this guy's just working out, this guy's over here.
Yeah.
Then you have this sketchy ass girl. It's good stuff. It's
Yeah,
really
the fun
that's like peak Will Smith.
yeah, the funny thing, you're talking about the length of old school movies back when we used to be able to easily digest them. It's easy to
Yeah,
forget how short they are because I actually downloaded, Men in Black. It was just, like, randomly that was what was on Netflix. I was like, "I'll
yeah.
watch that because I was taking a flight to, Austin, Texas for Fantastic Fest last year, and I finished the movie and still had time left on my flight. And I was like,
You're like,
"I forgot movies used to not be a half a day."
it's so nice. And for me, my theater, which unfortunately is only Regal, it's all I have.
Mhm.
Regal plays 25 minutes a trailer before every movie, and that's at least. I've had times where it's been 35 minutes, and they
Oh
don't give
god.
you the start time of the actual movie. It's
Yeah.
just this is when trailers start. And it takes me 20 minutes just to get to the theater. So when something like Oppenheimer is 3 hours long, I have a half hour of trailers, and I got almost an hour of drive time. It legitimately is a third of my day going to one movie, and that's just taxing.
Yeah, I got pissed
Sucks.
before, Mission Impossible last a couple of days ago because I went to go see it in the IMAX theater with my dad,
Mhm.
and I already knew it was barely hovering under 3 hours,
Yes.
and then we got the 15 minutes of trailers, and then they played 2 different behind the scenes featurettes of how they did the stunts, and I was just like, "Start the fucking movie! We're gonna be here till 1."
Oh my god. I just had what's funny about that too is I just talked about the stunts that Tom Cruise always does, and that's like a big selling point to go to the
Mhm,
movies to see how this stunt played out. Because he'll be training with like Navy SEALs and holding his breath underwater for 5 hours while getting punched in the face or something ridiculous.
mhm.
But then they kind of undercut it all by CGing everything around him. So I
Yeah,
sit there thinking, okay, that's really awesome. He jumped out of a ship from space like 100 times to get this shot.
mhm.
Then they CG'd Paris in and a storm. And so Tom Cruise is literally the only thing that's real in that shot. And it kind of comes off as fake anyways. at that point, just put him in front of a green screen and film everything else, you know?
Yeah, that's how I felt about the train crash sequence at the
Yeah.
end of the movie, where I was just like, "This should be cool, but it's obviously fake, and so now it stands out because of all the other shit that you've already showed me."
Yeah, that was how the motorcycle thing was for me too, because you saw how he
Mhm,
went up a ramp and then they CG'd the mountain in, and that mountain
mhm,
doesn't look that real. It looks pretty rough.
yeah,
But regardless, they're still fun as hell.
mhm.
Okay, yeah, Men in Black, really like the first, second, meh. Third one is better than meh. And then there is a fourth one. Let's not forget Men in
Oh,
Black.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Men
you're
in
right.
Black.
Never saw it.
What's it called? I didn't either.
Men in Black International or
International?
some
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
Chris
I heard it
Hemsworth.
was pretty terrible, and so I was like, "Nope, I don't need that one in my life."
I didn't see that either. You know what's funny you say that is we're supposed to be the dudes that are telling people if it's horrible or not, and
Mhm.
we're still going to like other people to hear it. Like occasionally I'll do that. I'll look on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, be like, oh, I didn't really want to see this, and it looks like shit. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're full time too, so you have no excuse. You should be going to that movie.
I
You should
wasn't when that came out.
shame on you. Yeah, that's really what it is.
I had overtime that day.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we got they're coming in still. Mike Hunt, $2. Upgrade with Tom Hardy look-alike, very underrated. I've heard of
Yeah,
Upgrade. Yeah, that's the one that's got the frantic camera shots, and he does kind of look like Tom Hardy, doesn't he?
yeah, Logan Marshall Green.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You never seen Upgrade?
I didn't see it. I saw some of the YouTube clips, and I felt like that was all I needed to see. But
I'm
maybe
I'm a big fan of that movie.
okay, hour and a half,
Close to it.
hour 45.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
That's where I like to live.
Yeah.
Unless it's Lord of the Rings, you can throw me 30 hours of Lord of the Rings, and I'm all in. Sergio Ribeiro, maybe? Ribeiro? 199. Are you excited for Eli Roth's Thanksgiving? You could have stopped at, are you excited for Eli Roth? And I would have said no, but I'm sure Cody has a different take on Eli.
I'm curious about it, but I'm not a big fan of Eli Roth either.
Hmm.
I'm one of those people that live on the island of like three more humans that loved his Death Wish remake, and that's the best movie that he's made, in my opinion, which says a lot.
Yeah.
His humor is what always turns me off. I think that he's pretty good at having like really visceral gore, and then that kind of stops after that. So the fact that this is the movie that he teased with his little Grindhouse trailer and he's finally making it has me curious. And there's no that I can think of. There's no Thanksgiving horror movies, so that's cool. But yeah, he's not a name that ever gives me confidence.
I forgot he did that Grindhouse trailer. That's right. It was at a high school and the
Mhm.
cheerleaders and stuff were getting
Thanksgiving.
killed. That was
Tennessee.
actually funny. I like that.
Yeah, so that's
Maybe
the
I,
movie.
maybe I would like Thanksgiving then because that got
Mhm.
me. I just don't like his torture porn style. The Hostel did nothing
Yeah.
for me, and I don't know. I guess I really haven't watched any of his other stuff. It just didn't
Cabin
speak to me.
Fever.
I did see Cabin Fever. I didn't like that either.
Mhm.
I like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, me too.
Not even close to relatable, or it's what isn't that like? You tell me who that is. That Whedon? That can't be right.
I think he wrote it.
Yeah, I think
He
he had
didn't
something to
direct
do
it.
with it.
He
Man.
did, yeah, because it came out after the Avengers, and everybody was like, "Joss Whedon's the best." And then
Mhm.
nowadays, people are like, "Oops."
Yeah, he really kinda quietly slunk away, didn't he? He's right there with Bryan Singer. Those
Yeah,
guys
he
both
yeah.
ended up on, like, Epstein's Island somewhere and never
Mhm.
left.
Yep.
Bryan Singer was unceremoniously booted from his own film, which was, the Queen movie? Bohemian
Bohemian
Rhapsody.
Rhapsody. Yeah, they're both people that have a lot of controversies and Me Too
Yes,
accusations and stuff, so it's just like,
yes.
"Oh, they'll never work again."
And
It was
yet
nice while it lasted, guys.
yet Ezra Miller's still flashing around.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. All right, Hack the Movies. We know Hack the Movie. You know Hack the Movies, Tony?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you'd like Hack the You'd like
Mhm,
Tony. He's a good guy. I
mhm.
disagree with
To
your
be
movie.
fair, I don't watch a lot of movie YouTube, so it's not I don't mean to
Yeah.
say
You
that as an insult.
you probably know who Angry Video Game Nerd is.
I've heard of the name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Tony used to work for Angry Video Game Nerd at Cinemassacre, and then he went off and did his own Hack the Movies channel. Subscribe to Hack the Movies. Tony's really funny. He's a good guy. I go on there once in a while for the live streams.
Okay.
The three of us should really all get together and gangbang something out really quick. It would be nice. We'll all peacock it with the shirts only. It'll be a good
There you
time.
go.
$5 powerful super chat says, I disagree with your movie criticism. Prepare for my backlash. Okay, so this is essentially just him wanting to get a shout out, and he got it. So very well done, Tony. Ramones, $5. Oh no, Cody, you slipped up and called Ezra a he. They are going to come for you now. Oh, that's right. It's a they, them thing.
I got a lot of shit from my Flash review because I tried my best to say they and keep it in the back of my mind because I'm still learning and I'm still
I
trying
do
to
that
make
too.
that a habit.
I do that too.
And so I got comments shitting on me for acknowledging that, and then I got comments shitting on me for the 1 or 2 times that I slipped up and said he, and I'm just like, fuck, I can't win.
Yeah, here's how I feel about it. I'm very much like, you have one shot on planet Earth. Enjoy yourself, be a good person to other people, respect them, and just, you know, let people do what they want to do and be who they want to be. I also have a hard time though bending the English language, so the they them thing is just really hard for me to, you know, to like sound through when I'm talking.
Yeah, I
try
slip
to
up
just
on it.
say, I just try to say the name. So it's like Ezra, and like, whatever.
I slip on it. I'm trying to make it more of a habit, but yeah, it's 30 plus years of only saying he and she. Sometimes it fucks up my flow of my words sometimes, so I'll make a mistake here and there.
We're in agreement.
Yeah.
Hack the movie clips. Tony, why are you responding from your second channel, by the way? Because Hack the Movie Clips is, you know, like the sub channel of Hack the Movies. Whatever. There are a bunch of Thanksgiving horror movies. I have an episode all about them.
Okay. Further exposing myself is not knowing shit.
Exactly. Stop exposing yourself to our people. It's disgusting. Does he mean a bunch of Thanksgiving, like title Thanksgiving horror movies, or does he mean there's movies set at Thanksgiving time?
I don't know. I can't think. I was trying to think. I don't really,
because Eli Roth, his Thanksgiving movie, capital T Thanksgiving, that
I've seen plenty of Christmas horror films. I've seen 4th of July horror films. I'm sure there's Thanksgiving ones, but maybe they're the really, really older, like grindhousey, direct to video in 1982 type movies that I probably haven't watched yet.
Tony's channel deals in a lot of the sick, you know, sexual, cultish type of movies. It's really depraved stuff. No, I'm joking. They just cover a lot of old school classic films that sometimes go under the radar. Let's see here. Bronson Wright Wolf for $5. I like Michael J. Fox as Stuart Little. Other than Back to the Future, what is your favorite Michael J. Fox movie? I got one, and Cody, I bet you'll say, "Wow, Adam, I agree." The Frighteners.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just reviewed that last month, actually. I love that movie.
I love that movie, man.
It holds up too. Even the way that they did kind of the very simple old school ghost effects, it still looks good.
Oh my gosh. I don't know the actor's name. He has kind of a Jim Carrey vibe to him, if Jim Carrey was like a pedophile, but he's bald and he's
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, Special Agent Danvers. And I shit you not, I had that whole monologue memorized when he does the backstory of Frank Bannister, you know, making the basketball court for himself, and he's got the utility blade. That whole little diatribe is brilliant. And
the knife was missing. Yeah, that guy's pretty wild.
13 carved into her forehead. Odd, lucky for some. It's so good. Yeah, if you haven't seen The Frighteners, I highly recommend it. It's a Peter Jackson film back when Peter Jackson did these kind of, what would you call them? These shock flicks, because he did Monkey Brains too.
Dead Alive.
Yeah, like a woman's eating an eyeball at one point in her soup. A lot of shock type stuff going on there. Shock and awe. So yeah, Michael J. Fox, I think, was that your pick, would you say?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox is like one of the saddest stories. I just can't get over it. The guy was so talented. He was also in Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think it was season, 6 or 7, playing himself like a lot of people do.
Poking fun at his
the Parkinson's. And he was brilliant as always.
Another good one, if you guys want, for Michael J. Fox, is Doc Hollywood. That's another one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a decent. When did that come out? Early 90s, like 92, 93.
Again, kind of chick flicky.
I would kind of, it's a period piece too, right? It's like in the 50s or 60s.
I don't think it was.
No?
I could be wrong, but no, he's driving a Porsche, I believe. So I don't think I
I
think
felt
it
like
was
he went
in
to,
the
maybe I'm just
80s or 90s.
is
Just
I
where
thought it was
he's
like
he's driving a
old-timey
Porsche
Hollywood,
and
right? Isn't it old-timey Hollywood?
mm-mm,
Oh,
no,
maybe it's just the car is old school. Okay.
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
He's
that's what
driving
it
like a
is.
Porsche or something, and he's a hotshot doctor, and he
Yes.
he he fucks up a fence in this little country town and has to
He has to
work it
work his
off
way
by
up,
being a
yep.
doctor. Yeah,
Has a, what's the Jim Carrey movie, kinda similar premise,
majestic.
the Majestic, where he gets hit on the head or whatever, and, he has to help
Mhm.
open the theater. Yeah. That's a
I like that
decent
movie.
movie. Yeah, it's a decent movie. That's when Jim Carrey was kinda getting away from the comedy and going into the drama, the 23 and Truman Show,
Mhm.
which is phenomenal film.
Not so much number 23.
No, not so much 23, which my birthday is on the 23rd, so I really connected with that film, Cody. I was like, "Oh my god, it is everywhere. It's everywhere."
Mhm.
Okay, last one, maybe for real. You see what happened? We were at the last one, 25 minutes ago, and
Oh,
then we
dude, it
only
happens all the time with me. I'll do mine, and I'll be an hour behind on super chat sometimes, and I'm like,
wow.
holy shit.
Well, you're working for the night.
Yeah,
you're putting your work in.
there you go.
Cody, are you excited to see Deadpool 3 with Wolverine back? Have you seen the pictures of his suit? This is for you. I mean, I'm not even addressed in this.
There you go. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm very complicated with that. I love the first Deadpool. I didn't love the second one.
Just
Hugh
rewatch it.
Jackman's yeah, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is probably my favorite
Mhm.
portrayal of a comic book character, and I
I agree.
adored Logan.
Yes.
So there's a
And
part
Patrick
of me.
Stewart too. I mean,
Oh
Patrick
yeah,
Stewart as Professor X
oh yeah.
completely owned the role.
Yeah. So there's a part of me that's a little bummed out that that's not
Mhm.
going to remain his ending. And I know people out there are like, well, canonically, it's going to be before. I'm talking about for the audience, our emotional ending, our send off of this is the last time I'm playing this character that was perfect. And the fact that they're undoing that bothers me a little bit. I also don't know what to expect from Disney's version of Deadpool, the MCU version of Deadpool. So I'm very guarded about that. And this is the first time that they've done anything R rated. And I don't know how they're going to do with it. And I'm at the point now, especially with comic book films, where I'm really just over cameos and Easter eggs and multiverse. And this is probably going to be just riffing on that because they're already talking about Elektra coming back, which means Ben Affleck's Daredevil is probably going to be announced at some point. We've seen the picture that the 20th Century Fox logo pushed off to the side like
Yeah.
the original Planet of the Apes. You bastards! And so I can't help but fear this movie is going to be a year of leaks and a year of official stories, basically giving us every single cool part of the movie. And it's just going to be a whole bunch of cameos and stuff. It's probably going to be witty about it, but I just don't operate on that wavelength. And I would rather get excited for Deadpool 3's story, not, oh, it's going to be interesting to see Elektra again. And, it's just so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect.
I think the biggest mistake the MCU made and the biggest disservice it could have done to its own storytelling is introduce the multiverse and really go all in with it because it has undercutted so many emotional moments and undercut so many characters that there's really just nothing to be scared about anymore because
Mhm.
I mean what, Doctor Strange 2 killed off OG Professor X and one variant of Stretch Armstrong, Mr. Fantastic, and it's like, okay, what am I supposed to feel anything? These people are
Yeah.
just going to come back again because there's 8,000 versions of them in different universes.
Yeah.
It just they jumped the gun, I think, on the multiverse stuff, and they've gone all in on it now. And we've
Mhm.
seen it now from so many different properties that it's boring. It's just not fun.
Yeah. Beyond that too, which it's a very weird rule that this exists, but
Mhm.
because the writer's strike is going on,
I saw that.
while they're shooting Deadpool 3, he's not allowed to ad lib.
I heard that. Yeah.
That's the heart of Deadpool.
Do you think that that's really going to hold any water, though? I mean, I feel like Ryan Reynolds will be ad libbing, and there's just no way around it.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just a weird rule. I don't know how. how it even works. Like maybe he's
I
gonna
don't
ad lib and
buy
they're
it.
gonna keep it and hope that the writer's strike ends by the
Yeah.
time the movie's getting done edited. They're like, oh fuck, put the good ones in.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Ryan Reynolds is going to do what Ryan Reynolds does, and they're going to have all this footage. And one of two things is going to happen. One, they're going to release the watered down version, and then they're going to hold on to another edit, kind of like the fucking X-Men Rogue cut, if you remember
Hmm.
that thing, where they had an entire character who was waited for a bonus DVD.
Yeah,
Um, or they're going to have the writer's strike end. They're going to put out the good version right away. But I think either way, there's not a chance Ryan Reynolds is going to keep quiet. That's the one
yeah.
thing he will not do. By the way, that X-Men Days of Future Past Rogue cut is a really good version of the film, and I
Oh
like
yeah,
the original version a lot. But that one is even better.
yeah. I
And
agree.
it's complete bullshit that they cut that 10 minutes out of the film,
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so
and
weird sometimes when you
she was
find out
all
things that
over
they cut.
she was on the posters.
Yeah,
And then she wasn't in the movie. It's bizarre. She wasn't even a cameo in the movie. Isn't that false advertising at some point?
yeah.
Bonkers. All right, one more maybe. By the way, he didn't ask me, but I'm in agreement with you, Cody. I'm cautiously optimistic, but not very hopeful. And
Mm,
Logan is top 5 comic book movie for me. I thought that
same.
film was brilliant.
Yeah, same.
And it was one of the reasons why I was actually the only reason I thought that Indiana Jones 5 might have a shot at being really good, because James Mangold is at least 3 for 3 with me for the movies he's directed.
I love every single one of the movies that I've seen from
Yeah.
James Mangold, with the exception of Dial of Destiny. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I'm right there with you.
Chris Retzlaff, however, I apologize if I butcher names. I'm not good at pronunciation. $2 says, still on Apple TV is a great Michael J. Fox documentary. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Also,
I
still is the name of the documentary.
correct. I really want to see it, but I know it's gonna be emotional, and so I haven't been in the right headspace to check it out.
Yeah, that's how my wife likes the documentary stuff. Me, not so much, because they're often crippling depression. But
Hmm.
she watched the Val Kilmer one, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I'd
Hmm.
rather have him as. It's the same reason I don't have any interest in the tabloid gossip, or go with the whole Tom Cruise is sacrificing babies to some alien in Scientology. I know that a lot of these people are messed up, because a lot of regular people are messed up.
Hmm.
And Cody and I have seen it in our comments recently a lot more, and it's scary and sad. So I really try to separate the art and the artist, and not worry so much about what what Michael Jackson is doing with boys on his ranch,
Yeah.
because I just ignorance is bliss is a true statement. There's a lot of bad shit going on by bad people,
Hmm.
and it's overwhelming and honestly not worth my time, because I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able to solve the world's problems.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our lines that
Yeah,
can't be crossed, but
right.
it's especially when it comes to political stuff. Whenever I
Yeah,
talk with somebody that won't watch a movie or won't watch a show because the guys that starred in it, his political view, I'm like, dude, then you might as well not watch anything. Don't listen to
exactly.
anything. Don't play anything because
Boy, I mean, if you're anti-slavery, I hope you don't have an Apple phone. I think
yeah.
we're all anti-slavery, but unfortunately, the way capitalism works is
Mhm.
there's a lot of people working for nothing, and they're building the shit that we are enjoying, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's sad, but that's the messed up world we live in.
Yeah.
And you can only boycott so much before you kind of turn into a hypocrite. Bronson Wright Wolf, $5 super chat, says, what is your favorite Johnny Depp Tim Burton movie? I'm asking about the movies they collaborated on together. Well, you have
Mm,
Sweeney Todd, which I never saw because it's a musical. I'm sure Cody didn't see it because he doesn't like musicals. You
yeah.
have Edward Scissorhands. You have Big Fish. Oh no, Johnny Depp's not in Big Fish. I'm sorry. What does
Pull
he?
up Tim Burton. I'm not a big Tim Burton fan. I got to
He's
be
in
honest with
that.
you.
There's that one where it's kind of like an Adams Family-esque film as well, where they're like a monster family. I didn't see that one. They've been in 5 or 6 movies. They've done 5 or 6 movies together. I know that.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Edward Scissorhands for me, and I'm not massively in love with that movie. But yeah, it's Edward Scissor or Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow would be my pick.
I'm gonna
So
look quick just to make sure, but I will agree with you.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a big hell no.
I don't like that movie.
Sweeney Todd I never saw. Dark
I didn't
Shadows
even
is the one you
Dark
were talking about.
that's
Never
what I was
saw it.
talking about. Alice in Wonderland looked like hot trash. Yeah, Sleepy Hollow is gonna be a 100% for me as well.
Yeah.
That's a
I'm not
cool movie. I like that movie.
It is. I like that one. There's the only movies by Tim Burton that I genuinely like are Sleepy Hollow. I still love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I can't help but love that one.
It's a good flick.
I've come around to Batman Returns, but I've never been a big Keaton era Batman fan, to be
Oh
honest.
man, I'm a big fan of Batman. I don't care for the original with
Jack Nicholson.
I think it's aged like milk, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. It doesn't hold up at all. And Jack Nicholson is really a good Joker, but the
Yeah.
movie itself doesn't look very good. The action's lame. Returns, I think, still is pretty damn awesome, though. I will
I like
definitely
it better than the original. I do.
yeah, I think for sure. Michelle Pfeiffer is great, and
A little more fucked up.
DeVito is just perfection as the Penguin.
Yeah.
Okay, good question though. Got us on our toes trying to figure one out. I still think
Mhm.
Tim Burton's best movie though is Big Fish by a country mile.
Never seen it.
I would check it out. Put it on your list, Cody.
It came out right after Planet of the Apes, so I was a
Go ahead,
little
go ahead and put that on your
guarded.
list.
Yeah.
Your
Number
fictitious.
3,750.
Yeah. I always think of the scene. You've seen Road Trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think of the scene where he calls in to the douchebag suck up guy back at the college, and he's like, "Okay, hold or take this note down." And the guy's like, "Yep, I'm writing it down right now." And he writes like "fuck
Fuck
off" or
you.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's so good. Like it's so unnecessary to write anything down, but
He underlines it and shit all
yeah, I
aggressively.
love that's the kind of humor I really love when they
Me
take it
too.
to a point where it doesn't even make sense in the context of the scene, but it just adds an extra element.
Mhm.
Yeah. On that note, I think on a note of Road Trip, how every conversation should end. Classic comedy from the '50s, starring what the fuck's his
Stifler.
name? Stifler.
Yeah.
John William Scott, who I believe was from my old stomping grounds in Minnesota. Yeah, we should end there. Cody, this was awesome, dude.
Yeah, I had fun.
You
Thank you very much.
you can pimp your channel one more time, I suppose.
Yeah, if you guys just search Cody Leach on YouTube, you'll find me. That's the name of my channel. I'm gonna have a Mission Impossible ranking at some point tomorrow. That'll be kind of the new blood, but I just reviewed the newest movie a couple of days ago, and then we got Barbenheimer next week. So
Barbenheimer. Yeah, I like
yeah,
it. Are you going to review them together in the same video?
I don't know. That's an interesting idea. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll wear a Ken shirt when I review Oppenheimer, and then I'll wear like a nuclear physicist suit when I review Barbie.
You could kind of do a halvesy thing and just
Like Two-Face.
profile yourself. All righty. Well, that was Cody. Cody, this was awesome. I'm glad that you decided to come on kind of like out of nowhere today.
Mhm.
Appreciate you taking time on your schedule. Check out his channel. Of course, if you somehow came here from Cody's because, you're awesome like that, subscribe to mine as well. I post movie content every week. We keep politics and religion, all that bullshit out of it. There's enough of that in the world. I just focus on movies, giving you my honest takes, trying to make you laugh, and hopefully you get something out of it. Because I
There
do.
you go.
All righty. Later, dude. And in broadcast, it's still